Hello? There we go.
You're live.
I'm live. Welcome to December 16th Select Board meeting. Dan, can you lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly. All rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dan.
Oh, you're welcome.
At this time, I'd like to approve of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 2nd, 2025?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
You get that, Clerk?
Yep, got it.
Okay. At this time, we're going to do new public business. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. The clerk will have a timer. Who would like to come up? Please go up. Introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hi, Richard Baldick, Precinct 4 Town Meeting Member. Just a couple of things. I was here a few months ago about the patchwork on Holten Street. Is there any update on if they're going to do anything better with that than what it is now? It's horrendous. Maybe they could take a trip up Locust Street and see what the contractor did up there. Beautiful job on the water main patching. Grounded out nice and smooth. Perfect job for a temporary patch. It would be appreciative. That road is horrible. And then a second thing is, do we have any idea of when our tower ladder is coming back to town? It's been out of service for months. We're running on a truck that's 24 years old as a backup ladder truck. We invested a lot of money into that tower truck, and it's been out of service a lot. I don't know how the department feels about it, but I go by and I look at the old truck sitting there and I go, it's been a long time. It's been out of service. So just see if we have any answers on that would be nice.
Okay, thank you. We'll have the
Thank you.
town manager look at that.
Thank
with DPW director, and get back to you. Thank you. Anybody else?
Bulldog.
Okay. The board will discuss budget goals for fiscal 2027. Refer to the school committee and the library trustees, library for comments, and vote after the comments. Rodney, are you here to speak? Any questions, board members? Donna?
Numerous.
Sorry, with you?
Numerous.
Numerous, okay, you want to start?
Yeah, okay, sure. if
All right,
you'd like
good.
to.
Rodney, please go up and introduce yourself.
I don't know, Chair, if you want to go through it paragraph by paragraph and ask for questions on the individual paragraphs, or do you just want me to bounce around?
Why don't we start with what you have for questions?
Okay, thank you. Second paragraph, fiscal year 2027 budget goals. Rodney, how you doing?
Good. Through you, Madam Chair, Rodney Connelly, Director of Administration Finance. Hi, Dan.
Thank you, thank you. So I guess we're doing wordsmith first. Vibrancy, what are we talking about with vibrancy with budget goals?
I think it relates to the vibrancy of the town, right? Hold on, I pull up.
Yes, I think would that be related to the town itself, not specifically the 27 budget.
So does it mean lively, animation, living life as an adventure? It's a no, that's what it means, living life as an adventure. Is that what we're referring to in our financial goals?
I'm happy to take this. Vibrancy meaning vibrant town, meaning, because vibrant, that may be the definition as you see it, but vibrant, to live in a vibrant town. Beyond that means that it's full of life and.
Can we put something in there to explain it in the goals so we know what it means?
But if you would prefer, yeah, we can, they're yours.
A little something.
They're yours to vote on, so we're happy to edit
Yeah,
them.
vibrancy, whatever, of the town.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just so we have a, I know it says advance the town's Danvers commitments, professional excellence, and community growth by building on stability. But then we get into sustainability, vibrancy, it's hard to understand what that means to goals, to budget.
I got you.
Okay, thank you. Long-term goals, second paragraph, provide high-quality, affordable education, recreation, and cultural services. What type of cultural services?
Through you, Madam Chair. So so these long-term goals are reflective of the long-term goals that have been sustained, that you guys have used in your budget, I would say at least last year, because we started there, and updated them just a bit. But I think for cultural services mean things, for example, like the menorah lighting the other night, the events we do related to Martin Luther King, all of
So as an adjective, social behavior and diversity. Is that what it means?
So, I'm sorry, I'm not following as an adjective.
You're calling,
Cultural services. So all of the services that we provide through the town, mainly through HRIC, that's related to cultural events. Would it be better for you if,
cultural events,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Events instead of services.
Rather services.
Okay.
Thank you. Ongoing second paragraph, balance competing needs, deliver affordable quality services across departments while ensuring equitable resource distribution. I don't think every department gets equitable resources. I mean, certainly police and fire needs more than,
I don't think equitable there means even.
well,
It means
that's
you're
what,
you're fair to each. You know, you're right, the school budget far outweighs everybody else.
right, exactly.
I don't think equitable there means it has to be an even amount of money,
What's it mean?
with the same values and rigor. It doesn't have to, you're not stealing from one to pay the other necessarily. We're not denying money from the library to make sure we afford a new bucket truck. I get a lot of feedback. I don't put equitable and even as the same thing. Fair distribution, if you want to say fair instead of
say if this
equitable.
is a word thing we're
Yeah, look, yeah. Just something that makes sense when you read it. When somebody outside reads it, they have a clear understanding of what it is we're trying to say.
Absolutely.
And I understand that. Unfortunately, people will put their own interpretations on individual words. And I think the intent there is that we are being fair to all departments.
Okay, so we can say that.
Okay.
There was a reserves and debt, strengthen the town's reserve position, ensure compliance with fiscal policies, continue funding debt stabilization funds. I think we probably kind of need to look at what's going to happen at Essex Tech with their planned increase in programs, and how many additional students are they going to be taking into these programs, and how many more will Danvers be sending, and how are we going to pay for it? At some point in time, the next year or two, they'll be taking more Danvers students than the 59 that's allotted. That'll be a real budget buster. Should we be talking about a reserve fund for, not just we have a reserve fund for our public schools, but something to cover the unanticipated costs, which are not unanticipated, anticipated cost of students? Do we want to look at that this year and start putting away some funds?
So I'm happy to speak to what's been happening related to that right now. There was in my town manager's report, but I can do it now, and then you can speak to whether or not the stabilization fund is the best way to go. So we, as you know, Mike Landers is our representative on the Essex Tech School Committee. They have, with the new lottery coming in, they have an admissions policy procedure that they had put out. The committee was supposed to vote on it last, I think it was Thursday. so it's Thursday. We have some growing concerns around it, so I've been meeting with Mike and Dan Bauer and Rodney. We were able to reach out and connect with the mayors from Peabody, Gloucester, Beverly, and Salem, and encourage a pause on the vote, specifically around what the minimum is, and the predictability is the number one thing. We were successful, so thank you to Mike Landers. He represents Danvers well on that board. So at the Thursday's meeting, they paused the vote. Right now, our minimum number is 60. It's based on 3-year averages, enrollment averages. They went through a number of discussions about different processes, but the proposal is based on 3-year admissions. One of our larger concerns is the unpredictable part, which when they go back into when all of our seats are full, and then they have at-large seats in other communities that might not meet their sending goal, we may end up with an unpredictable number because we just have more balls in the pot, so to speak. So right now they're on pause at the school committee level. The superintendent there has invited us, the municipal officials and the school superintendents, to a meeting on January 6th to talk through the formula and see if we can make some changes so that, and again, for us, it's the minimum number and the predictability. But I know that the mayors of Salem, Beverly, and Peabody also share those concerns. So, as well as some of the town managers in the area have also reached out. So we are working on that now, but that's just an update on where we're at. And then I don't know if you want to speak to a stabilization fund.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chairwoman, I would say that we've created special stabilization funds before, the debt being one. We've had an education one in years past. We probably wouldn't want to put it right in the general stabilization because that is sort of the emergency, anything town related, break glass if need be. So we probably would want to look at a special stabilization. I mean, we don't have to go back too far. 3 or 4 years ago, we saw that number jump from 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 to 70. So I think, if we anticipate that over the next 5 years with an expansion, that would be prudent to invest some money to not dramatically impact that budget the year we jump.
Yeah, the pausing on the lottery system, et cetera, is one thing, but I don't think they're pausing on their expansion plans.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah, so
thing that
that,
most concerns me.
and I think that is shared with the other municipal officials and superintendents in the region. So knowing that this is kind of step one into that, so.
Okay. Rodney, how would you think to put money into the general stabilization fund or a special fund for?
Yeah, I would recommend if we wanted to map out a plan to guard against a spike in enrollment, that we'd probably create a special fund specifically for that purpose. That way it's clear to town meeting what we're putting that specific money away for
Right.
versus our general, just in case.
Is that
reserves.
a conversation we can have this budget season?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chairman. That's it for now.
Okay. Gardner? Do you have any questions?
Sure, I got a few. One of the things, same comment I kind of made when we talked about the town manager's goals. There's not a lot, these aren't necessarily SMART goals. They're not measurable. They're feelings goals. We want to do this. It would feel good to do this. We want to be equitable. We want to be, fair, whatever you want to say. But there's no measurement of customer service. There's no measurement of some of these actions. And maybe this isn't the place for it, but usually goals are, follow the SMART rule. I'll let the town manager speak to that afterwards. I'm interested why in the fourth paragraph, we start talking about the public schools. We call it the schools specifically. Is this the select board's town budget, or is it the budget that includes the library and the schools and everybody and everything? Because we don't speak to the library at all either. Why one?
Yeah. I'm happy to answer, but a lot of this was handed down to me, so this is what the select board's been doing traditionally. I agree with you. I've asked Rodney that exact question. I'm like, these goals don't really tell us much of anything, but this is how Danvers has been proceeding with these goals in the past, is set around the budget. So I got the sense that was the preference of the board was not for measurable goals in a budget, but for these kind of more emotional feelings goals, as you call them. if that's, I'm more than happy to, as Rodney knows, change some of these goals. So if that's what the feedback's for, they're yours to work on. So please give us that feedback. And the school committee, same tradition. You've always had one that speaks to the schools.
Yeah, I would just add through you, Madam Chair. So a few years ago, if you remember, we had very static goals. They really didn't change year over year.
Right.
Around 3 years ago, we introduced the concept of 3 specific to the next coming budget goals. And again, the reason why schools usually are incorporated as one of those 3 bullets is, again, they take up almost 50% of the budget. So it makes sense that we're looking at a townwide budget goal, that the one eating up almost half the pie would make sense to be predominantly displayed. But that said, if the goal was to add a library goal, that's certainly something we could revise and
I
bring back.
would like to see a library goal. It just seems one or all. None or all, all 3 or it's a town.
We're happy to, they're yours to set.
Yeah,
So
I would
we're
ask
happy to
I would
engage.
ask that we add a library goal
in any
to
way.
make sure they maintain sustainability, and primarily because they are a low cost.
Will you please submit one that you're thinking, or some language that you're
I
thinking
would
related
actually-
to that
I think
SMART goal?
maybe the library director might be a
We'll work
good
with them too.
resource for that. For short money, we have a great library for comparatively short money. And if even a little bit more can help them reach a better goal, I would like to hear that and consider it. To the point about SMART goals, measurements, percentages, in the past, man, I'm getting a lot of feedback off this one. In the past, we actually had discussion about the reserves and debts being a percentage of the entire budget, kind of capping it, as it were. Have we moved away from that?
So which specific? So for general stabilization, our long-term goal is to get that to be sort of the minimum 8 to 12% of undesignated fund balance, which is our town policy. Debt stabilization, again, I think it's based on more project specific. So the most recent one was the Smith School. We also committed with the landfill revenue that we would put that into debt stabilization for long-term capital needs, whether it be public works or other improvements.
But I think it was more, so one is, you said it was a policy.
Yeah.
Should that policy be in our goals, budget goals or not? You've got it as a policy, but I'm just wondering if that shouldn't be enumerated in the goals, that our overall accumulated debt for all the projects we do should be X% of our town budget, or not.
I'm not sure I'd want to set the debt to a specific percent of the budget, because I think it depends. I think if you look to comparative communities, we actually have very low debt as a part of our operating budget, so I wouldn't necessarily want to target a specific number. But we do have financial policies that are in the budget adopted by the select board. I'd say if you wanted to review those and as part of the budget process and maybe amend them as needed, that would probably be the smartest avenue to do so.
Okay.
We do talk a little bit about reserves and debt long-term in this document, so we could also have thoughts you had on expanding that. But I think targeting a specific percentage or number, that'd probably be a longer-term discussion on what makes sense for the community and the will of the select board.
Okay. You do talk about reserves, and you speak to some specific ones. Is the SPED reserve a reserve of the school department or of the town?
So the special education reserve we set up a couple of years ago it's a town reserve fund. It requires both the school committee and the select board to appropriate out of.
Okay.
It's also, that one is capped by Mass General Law on the maximum amount you can have, which I believe is, I'll check. It's tied to your net school spending, but I'll get the exact number. I believe it's 2%.
Yeah, 3 to 5.
Yeah, so that one does have a cap on the max you could put into that fund. And it requires both bodies to appropriate out of.
All right, and maybe there's no place for it, but we don't mention specific capital projects like the DPW garage, or we don't in here mention any discussion about solving our water capacity issue. I'm wondering if the board would want something in there or not. It's up to the will of the board.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, through you to Member Trask. Can you be specific?
I would like to know that in here that, and maybe even get regular reports, that what our options are or what our efforts are in pursuing an increased water supply storage or increased water capacity or increased ability to draw water. You know, we had talked about, in the past, we've
Yeah,
talked about things like the Rebecca Nurse Homestead well and other options that we've explored. To know that there is something that we continuously look for, that it is a goal that we spend time and money on.
But as it relates to the budget specifically, I guess I was looking for specifics. But I welcome feedback. We sent you these in email, so please.
Yep.
We welcome feedback. So I would need some more clarity from you on how that relates
How
to
it could
budget
water-
goals.
And if other people have ideas, join in. But I just, I think it's one of our more pressing issues, and long term, it's not going to be solved in a year. It hasn't been solved but I want to know that we have a portion of our budget or a portion of our department's priorities focused on that. No less than economic development or no less than other aspects of the town. I'd just like to call out water. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Ghana. T?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. The way I look at it was more like a big picture. So when I got it and I look at it, it seemed fine for me because I wasn't looking at specific departments, specific action items. When we talk about strengthening organizational efficiency as one of the goals, it means that if the fire comes and wants a new truck, for example, or they want something, we will look at it and say, this is how much it costs, and how does that strengthen the efficiency within the department. So I wasn't looking at it more like specific item. To you, Madam Chair, each department will have specific things on their budget as to what they do and how they do it. Is that correct?
I mean, they don't have separate goals. I'm looking at Rodney because this is my first one. Yeah.
So in the department sections, each part has a narrative of sort of just generally speaking, what do they do, what do they provide to the residents? And also they usually have a couple strategic goals as well.
And those will align with these goals that we are setting
Yes.
from each department.
Yep.
And then I understand why the school is listed because, like you said, it's half of the budget. And if the school wants to do something, we want to make sure that we're equipping them with all the resources that they need to sustain special aid and things like that. So that's how I looked at it. The changes that we were making on the cultural services to like cultural event, when I thought of cultural services, it's the event, but it's also maybe we need a translation equipment. Right? That's not an event, but that's something that could be needed for the town if someone gets here or people who are visually impaired. Can we have something for them to come to town hall and pay their bill? That's more like a service instead of an event. So I will keep things like services because it encompasses event. Same thing with the equity. It's more like what the fire needs, the school, the police, DPW, they're all different. So the goal is to make sure that every department gets what they need to be efficient and be successful. And then when we look at those specific items within the department, we will look at this goal and say, does that make them more efficient? Are we getting good talent? Are we keeping the talent that we are getting? So I don't really have much to add, but if we're going to be looking at it in sense of having specifics, I'm open to that as well. But I was looking at it more like a vision and a big picture, and then the specific will come throughout the budget from different departments. Is that fair? Is that how you're seeing it? I mean, it's not your goal, but...
No, yeah, I mean, again, this documents the select boards to edit as they see fit, but generally speaking, it is sort of the three sort of directly impacting the finances in FY27, and the rest are just more general long-term. And then if you go into the budget document, each department has strategic goals. Each department has performance metrics that they try to hit. So a lot of that information exists, maybe not in the front document, but within the document itself in the various departments in much more specificity.
And if I may, Madam Chair, the other thing I think this whole conversation reflects was the conversation that we had around the town manager's goals. My goals is the misalignment and timing of when departments are setting their goals and when I'm setting my goals as we do the budget. So we're trying to get that alignment in place so that the budget goals, because right now the managers up until this year were setting their goals halfway through the budget year. So they weren't as able to inform them. So we're working on that realignment. And so that's why we're absolutely open to changing these up to reflect what you guys are looking for.
Thank you.
Mike?
Thank you. All right, I'm going to come at you at a little different direction, but this will take the heat off the town manager for sure. As Board Member Trask mentioned, that this is a feel-good paper, and it did make me feel good. But there's other things I guess I'm concerned about, and one of them is the state's talking about getting rid of the Prop 2.5. So that scares me because we're, just under 100,000 from going over our budget? Is that correct?
We have 100,000 as of the most recent tax certification
Right.
under our tax levy.
Right. So, you ready? When was the last time we audited all our departments?
Annually.
Annually?
Yep.
Okay. And is it an overall or is it a really specific audit?
They pull payroll, they pull invoice processing, they look at procedures, they review journal entries made by the town accountant. It's a full-scale independent audit that we do annually that covers us, the schools as well. We also have additional auditing. We do grant auditing every year. The electric division has its own separate audit based on DPU regulations. So we do an end-of-year school report audit. We do student activities, because that's a hot button topic. We do a specific independent audit of student activities every year as well. So, yeah.
Because my lead-up question here was that, I'm wondering if we could, suggest that departments look into their budgets and see if they could shave a little bit, so we could build up that cushion in between going over, even if they did 0.25%.
I would just add that we do that annually, and in fact, usually mid-February, they have a very tough meeting upstairs in the town manager's conference room. Well, we give them a specific number that they have to cut. That's just to balance every year.
Okay.
So yeah, to that respect, we do that annually as well.
Okay, all right. If Prop 2.5 is taken away, how does that affect us? We're going to just, I know we have contracts with teachers and fire departments and police and all that, but I mean, are we going to lose it and topple over?
I mean, I
know,
would
it's a
assume
very
that,
general question.
I was going to say, well, there would be many steps to change, the taxation, which includes this board, and so I don't think we're going to topple over.
So, the average taxpayer is more worried about it.
Of course they are, yes, absolutely.
that's what
I
I'm
think,
asking.
I just think it's fair to say that the removal, first of all, I think we're far from being there at the state level. I think it takes a long time. I think there's many people at the state level who are just as concerned as you are. So I don't mean to act like quip about it. I just think it's a long way away, and we have many other budgeting tools that we would access first. We've started our budget meetings. I've been very impressed. Most of the departments are coming in with 0% increases in their budgets. This is not a community where nobody's coming in with big wish list. Rodney has set a very high standard for that. The departments that you see coming in with increases are typically based on our contractual increases that are out of our control. So I don't get the sense, again, I'm the newest person in the room on this topic, but I have not seen any kind of issues within the budget meetings we've had so far where people are asking for extravagant things or major changes. And Rodney's a very conservative director of administration and finance. I will share that for sure.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that's good. Myself too, D. I look at the whole picture too. I like the fact of making sure about the reserves. That was the big discussion, is about the Essex Tech. We do know that they will be expanding, as the town manager said, with some of these cities or towns that might not have those number of students. are we going to be picking that up? So I think we need to, lack of a better word, beef up our reserve, for something like that. I like how Gardner says about things being measurable, definitely. And you did say the general stabilization goal is usually 8 to 12%?
So our undesignated fund balance, so at the end of the year, unrestricted cash should be 8 to 12% of the prior year's operating expenditures. So the goal over the past few years was to increase the general stabilization to be that backbone of that number.
Okay. And, the contracts increases, we can't stop that. But that's how, we want to retain our employees. We want to keep the good town employees. So board members, what do you think? Are we prepared to accept or think about this? What do you want to do?
I think we've offered some suggestions and recommendations. I'll send something more in about water. But I think to the point, these are goals. So if we were to put in the percentage that you just quoted as the policy, it's a goal. Yes, if something catastrophic happened, if all of a sudden we needed a big, huge capital project that we didn't anticipate and had to do it, yes, we may not meet the goal, but the world of reality comes in. So I think there's still a little bit of room for tweaking and then coming
And Madam
back.
Chair, we have to ask school committee and board library trustees for comments too, so.
That would be good.
Yeah. We'll refer to, I think your motion is to refer to that.
Yes. My motion is to, yes, table
Okay,
this or refer
table it.
this back.
Okay.
I don't know, it needs a motion, it's,
Is it a motion?
I don't know that it needs one.
Thank you.
It's,
We've been passing it back and forth
Yeah.
for the last 20-odd years for their comments before we vote on it.
right.
There's no motion needed, in my mind.
Me either.
I mean,
no
if I,
motion
just a
needed.
final comment, if I may.
Final comment, Dan, sure.
This is a big picture document, as Dee said. The other option is just reiterate our financial goals as they are in our audit report. The 8 to 10%, the different fund balances, the different goals.
Yeah.
So, but does that, we get that in the audit?
So we, through you, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no.
In every year in the transmittal letter, if you notice, there's a box that shows those policies. If the thought was we wanted to take that box, incorporate it into that document, that's a very easy lift, and I think kind of speaks to what you're saying about defining in our goals that, because again, they are the policies that we're thinking of every day, but I think maybe incorporating them into the goals might.
And I'm wondering if that doesn't also help us with our bond ratings, with, if we enumerate what our targets are. I know that we get dinged sometimes. A part of their very complex calculations about the bond ratings include how much debt we have or don't have, whether we're underutilizing our opportunity to improve the town because we try to maintain a certain low debt level. I know it sounds backwards, but it's part of it. And maybe does enumerating those things that we see in the audit, and you asked about the audit, you participated, every year we participate as a board in a very extensive audit that we all kind of weigh in on and hear, and talks about slices the numbers every way possible. So from that, I think that maybe there's some opportunity to take some of that wording and put it in our budget goals.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rodney. All right. The board will consider the appointment of Paola, Garcia, Oelito to the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. Welcome. Hi. Nice to see you.
Good evening, everybody. Madam Chair, members of the board, Town of Danvers, nice to see you again. My name is Luis Velasquez. I'm a sitting member of the Danvers Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. Johan Hunter, the chair of our committee, disappointingly she couldn't be here tonight to participate in your consideration to appoint Paola Garcia to the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee. However, she asked me to come before you on her behalf. Alas, Paola herself is not here either. As luck would have it, her family had previously scheduled travel plans for the holidays. So she's also very much disappointed she can't be here tonight. Nonetheless, Paola would like to introduce herself to the Select Board and the Danvers community as well, with a letter that she wrote. Now, we all will hear from Paola in her own words, and I promise you all to do my best to honor her voice. Hello. I wanted to thank you all for taking the time to consider my application to join the HRIC. My name is Paola, and over the past several years, my family and I have made Danvers our home. After spending years building our careers, we felt it was time to find a community where we could build a life. In our search, we were lucky enough to find Danvers. In Danvers, we found a town where people are passionate about their community, where you can find wonderful local businesses committed to providing the best for their patrons, where neighbors are always willing to lend a helping hand or simply stop to hold a friendly conversation. I grew up in a city, and I've always dreamed of raising my kids in an environment where they will be welcome and free to move about with their friends. My family is still young, but it fills my heart to see the joy of Danvers kids' faces as they play freely, as all kids should. As a Mexican American, as an immigrant who spent her life witnessing two cultures at once, as a first-generation college graduate who certainly did not come from the same socioeconomic background as her peers, and as someone who has lived in urban settings, surrounded by folks from all walks of life, I understand and appreciate the value of embracing a community that welcomes all. That, I believe, is the calling of the HRC, and one that I hope to positively contribute to. Growing up, I spent countless nights watching my mom work in the nonprofit field, supporting local families to find their path forward, and encouraging parent involvement in their children's education. My parents instilled in me, through their actions and their words, the importance of supporting your community. My mom didn't do the job for the paycheck, but she worked tirelessly because she knew her work was having a positive impact on the life of those in our community. That value is one that I cherish and one that I continue to carry with me in my present life. Throughout my life, I volunteered across a variety of nonprofits, including nutrition center programs, translation work for kids in need of legal support, education center organizations, and whatever my skills could be put to good use. By joining the HRIC, I hope to continue carrying this value of commitment to my community, so that we can all live in a Danvers where we feel welcome and celebrated. In short, I'm a young mom in town. I thrive on rolling up my sleeves to help get things done, and most importantly, I am committed to doing what I can to ensure Danvers continues to grow into the welcoming community that my family and I have been lucky enough to find. If given the opportunity, I love to contribute my time and effort to helping the HRC reach all of its objectives. Thank you for your time, and please feel free to send any questions my way, Paola. And I did to welcome any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, questions, Gardner?
And has Paola been attending the meetings?
Yes, she has.
How often? How long?
So she's been acting coming to the meeting since we started this new session.
Okay,
She has come to two of our activities as well.
great.
And she's a community member of the subcommittee for Martin Luther King celebration too as well.
You anticipated my questions. I want to know what participation she has been, Apollo has been participating in.
Yes, she has.
And knowing the members of the HRIC, if they're embracing and supportive of this, I see no reason not to accept the application. I'm all set.
Excellent. Mike?
I'm sure she's a wonderful person.
She is.
It's just odd, how do we vote somebody in if they're not here? Can we do that?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah?
We'll
Mike, if I may,
Yeah.
there was a time when we didn't get to meet the candidates for these different appointments, and we established a procedure where we asked them to come before us, just so when we see them in the street, we know who they are.
Yeah.
The fact that they're not here is not a detriment. It's unfortunate, but certainly the narrative speaks volumes of the person, and I'd be comfortable. I hope she'll...
We can see her at a meeting. We can always go to a meeting.
We can?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
No, it's only in recent procedure that we've requested their presence, but
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
Dee?
Yeah, I totally agree with Select Board Member Bennett, and I'm sure if we want to see, if we ask that she comes at a future meeting, I'm sure she'll be happy to. I spoke to the chair last night casually at the menorah lighting when I saw this on the agenda, and she wholeheartedly supported her appointment as well as a couple of HRC members. They think she will really be a good addition to the committee and to the great work that they do, so I'll support it.
Excellent. Have her come next time,
Yes, of
introduce
course.
herself to us.
Sure,
What's the
absolutely.
will of the board?
Madam Chair, I move we accept the recommendation and the appointment of Paola Garcia Oelito, to the Human Rights and Inclusion Committee.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I,
Okay, thank you.
Great.
Thank you very
If I may,
much.
Madam Chair, I'd like to invite you to a multi-meeting this Thursday night. We're going to hear about the Northeast Arc and the vital work they do here in our town for individuals with disabilities and their families. We're also going to learn more about housing and security, which is something that all of us here and every Danvers resident cares very deeply about. So again, Thursday night, 7 p.m. here in the Tommy Room, or if you're at home, you can watch it on the DCS TV. They put our meetings on cable television, and you're on the go, YouTube, at DCAT Danvers, and you can join us there today. Thank you very much, folks. Have a great night.
Excellent, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a good night. Okay. The board will vote to accept a gift from the Rotary Club of Danvers in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, 53A. Do I have a motion to accept the gift with a letter of thanks? Someone want to make that motion?
Is someone going to report on it, or?
Is anybody
first,
here
or-
to report? Oh, good. Thank you, Bill.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Cosselon, 7 Fairview Street here in Danvers. I'm here tonight representing the Danvers Rotary Club. What we're doing tonight is the culmination of a 15-month project where the Danvers Rotary Club has taken upon themselves to fund a restoration and return of a cultural legend back to the town of Danvers. And it's been quite a ride. It's been very interesting, at least for myself, to see this through. Are there any specific questions I can answer for you at this time?
Board members? Gardner?
No, I don't have any questions, thank you.
Mike?
So, this was a painting, is that what I read?
Yes, sir. Allow me to explain. This is one of a series of 17 paintings and murals that hung in the town hall, created back during the days of the Depression. And they were taken down in the late 40s when town hall was done over. This particular mural was stored rather poorly. What it demonstrates or displays is a legend of what possibly could be the first shot fired in the American Revolutionary War. It doesn't really have a title, and I've given it one, which is The Shooting at Robert Hooper's Great House. It's rather large. It's approximately 7.5 feet by 9 feet, and will adorn the main entryway when it's done. Local DCAT intends to videotape the installation of it. This is kind of a moment in Danvers culture, and pretty proud of it, to be perfectly honest with you. So thank you very much for having us. Are there any other questions?
Thank you for that.
Dee, do you have any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Dan?
thank you, yes. When we vote on this, there's 3 invoices here that totals up significant amount of money. Will we be voting on all 3 of the invoices, or just the one to accept the painting itself? And I need to point out that the client that worked with the studio to refurbish it is the Danvers Historical Society. So they should get some
Recognition.
recognition for being involved, working with Rotary and Bill and others to make this come to fruition. It had been sitting up there in the Lawrence,
Yes, sir.
right, for a number of years. And just note, there's still others up there in bad shape as well.
Madam Chair, to the member's question, I don't think we're voting on the invoices, we're voting on the gift,
Which is what?
which is the gift of the entirety,
Well, that's my question.
That is it.
right,
Yeah.
not individually on the invoices, as the entirety of the gift.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's the will of the board?
Did D get
D's all set.
I move we accept the gift as presented in its entirety with thanks to the appropriate support of the Rotary and the Danvers Historical Society.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Excellent. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Bill, thanks for your
Good job.
efforts. Like a dog with a bone, you wouldn't give up.
And if I may, Madam Chair, just an update for the board. The installation, I believe, is scheduled for Friday, tentatively scheduled for Friday, January, that's the 9th, I think. But you will receive information because they will obviously have to take up the front grand staircase. So we'll have to be using the access through the back staircases. So we will get a message out to the public so they know
Excellent.
when. They're going to try to do as much as they can after hours, but just a heads up.
Thank you. Okay. The board will consider an application for a one-day wine and malt beverage license. Michael Demerjian, event coordinator for a corporate holiday event at 222 Rosewood Drive on December 18th, 2025, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Hello, Mike?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Any paperwork in order, Clerk?
The paperwork is in order, yes.
Okay. Do I have any questions?
Is this a repeat?
I don't.
Yes, sir.
Is right.
It is the third annual that we're servicing for them.
Okay, and just as a reminder, this is internal to the company, correct? It's not open to the public.
It is internal to the company corporate clearance center. We are
Right.
servicing the event, yes.
Okay. Oh, okay, you're okay. You're representing the service, okay. I don't have any, if the paperwork's in order, I have any
It is.
questions. Thank you.
Mike, do you have any questions?
Just one. You're the vendor?
Yes.
Okay. And any problems in your history serving liquor?
No, not yet.
All right. Thank you.
We never know.
Yeah, thank you.
D?
No questions, thank you.
Dan?
All set.
All right, I'm all set. What's the will of the board?
We accept the application as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
very
very
much.
much. Okay. Public hearing will be held on the application of William Lucano, representing Saltwater Grill, 50 Maple Street, to hang signage over the public way at that location.
Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
This is a public hearing. Tell us about it.
So it's a sign, it's a blade sign that hangs over the sidewalk at 50 Maple Street. It's already been there. It was a restaurant, and now it's going to be another restaurant, Saltwater Grill. So all we're doing is literally keeping the box the way it is, which is, it's in great shape, and we're just putting an aluminum face on the front and the back side of the sign.
Will it be lighted?
Nope. It'll just basically just covering the face with the new restaurant.
Well, many of us remember this as this original suburban sign. That's the
Oh,
same
that's
shape.
right, yeah.
So that's so that was predates the previous
Yeah.
restaurant. I was just asking if there was outside lighting onto it or if there's internal lighting shining through it.
No internal lighting.
Okay.
I'm sure he's going to put external lighting on there. But
Okay. I have no other questions. I'm fine with
Mike?
this.
The material you're using to go over the old sign is aluminum?
yeah.
Okay. And is the other structure still good shape?
Oh yeah, it's in
Yeah.
really good shape. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
D?
No questions, thank you.
Dan?
You really answered my questions. When I looked at it, I was wondering what you're going to do with the old sign. You're just going to repurpose it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's in great shape, so there's no point in taking it down and putting a new one up. So, and to save the restaurant some money, we can repurpose it. Fine.
Okay. It's interesting. You don't show the sign in context to the streetscape. So you're just showing an individual sign. Rocco's has a big sign. There's a couple of awnings. Modern Butcher just has 4 lights on the front of their building. So there's no consistency downtown with signage.
Maybe that's something we want to talk about eventually.
Well, we've got awnings, we got flags, we
Yeah.
got lights, and we've got two large blade signs, if you will, on that side of the street. I would hope that in the future that we get a picture of the context of what we're doing to change downtown. The fact that they're just repurposing the same sign, I'd have no issues. And if they had taken that sign down, they'd have trouble getting one back up, because once you take
Yeah.
them down,
Oh, I know.
you know, okay.
That's why I'm not taking it down.
So,
The only thing we have to do is we got to put some staging up when we got to get to the sign and do it.
No,
So-
I understand.
Okay.
You're not going to use a ladder, I hope.
No, no, no.
All right, thank you, I'm all set.
All right, I have no problem, too. This is a public hearing. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Well, can we hear, see if they
Oh, I'm sorry, anybody
Yeah.
else? Tim, anybody? Okay.
Now I'll motion to close. the
Okay,
public hearing.
thank you, Gada.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
What's the will of the board?
That's to close it, so what's the will of the board?
I move we accept the application as presented. This is, our purview is use of the space over the sidewalk, not the signage size, but that's codified under planning. So I'm fine with this. I move we accept it as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Wonderful, thank you. All right. Public hearing will be held to consider whether the license to sell alcoholic beverages held by U.S. Sushi, Inc., DBA, J&J Asian Cuisine and Lounge, Shalong Hu, manager, 156 Andover Street, should be suspended, revoked, or limited in any way. We have the chief here. Hi, chief, welcome.
evening. A recap from the last meeting. So on November 12th, 2025, officers conducted alcohol compliance checks in the town of Danvers. Prior to these checks, a public notice was posted on social media on October 27th, 2025. During the compliance checks, we utilized two 18-year-old males to enter establishments within the community and attempt to purchase either Bud Light if it was a restaurant or a six-pack of beer if it was a store. Out of the 49 establishments with liquor licenses, 10 were not checked because they were either closed or under construction or inaccessible. At approximately 6:39 p.m., the underage male entered J&J Asian Cuisine located at 156 Andover Street. He approached the bar, ordered a Bud Light, and was served without being asked for identification. He paid for the beer and received a receipt. He exited the restaurant to the officers outside, presented the receipt to them and the change. The officers entered the restaurant, observed the Bud Light still sitting on the countertop. Officers went in and spoke with the manager and the bartender. Both were very respectful, acknowledged they made a mistake, and that's essentially what happened.
Okay, board members' questions, Dan?
None.
Dee?
So is the person here, is that,
He's standing up.
oh, okay. Not at the moment.
Okay. Mike?
To the chief, no, thank you for that, telling us what happened there. To the person representing the building, the business, is there, what steps have you taken to fix this problem?
Hi, Your Honor.
Hey.
I understand how serious it is, and I can assure the court this will not happen again. My business depends on follow the law.
Is there
Madam
any-
Chair, can he introduce himself?
Yeah. Just, please state your name. Your name?
My name is Shailong Hill.
Are you the owner?
Yes, I'm the business of the owner.
Okay. And did the person that was working, did they come with you or no?
You mean
The bartender or whoever it was?
he's not a bartender?
The waiter?
He's a service.
Service? Right. Is any retraining for that person to help them along?
Yeah, I just went out like a couple minutes, do something, and went back. So it happens.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. Dan? Dee?
Maybe-
Go ahead.
Should I?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. Did you say that the person was not the bartender, that was a server
Yes.
working the bar? How is the setting? Is it, did this happen when someone was sitting at a table, or, I mean, I've never been there, so, or was it at the bar?
No, she was the service because I have to do something. I have to go outside like a few minutes, and when I come back, it's happening.
It says bar.
Okay, so you were at the bar, and then you step out, someone came to help, and then they did that.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
Yes, she did that.
Okay. Do you typically ask for ID when you are the one at the bar?
Yeah, we will. We will ask.
In the future, but now, do you, like, if I walk in now, will you ask me for an ID?
Yes.
Okay. Does it depend on how old I look, or do you ask everybody?
Right now, we ask them under 40.
Okay, 40. So if someone looks under 40, then you ask for the ID?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Okay. Now, the person that did the service, so they don't usually work the bar. Is that correct? Okay. Are you training them now to know to do, like, what are you doing about it since this incident?
Yeah, we're training. But after that.
Okay, has it already happened, or it's gonna happen? Did you already do the training, or you're going to do it?
After that, we're doing already.
You already had a training with everybody?
Yeah, just.
Or just the person that was doing the service?
We were training everyone, bar and service.
Okay. Okay.
Retraining. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Gardner, did you want to say anything else?
Well, yeah, I did.
What do you want? I'm sorry.
That's all right. We bounce around.
Yeah,
It's quite
yeah.
all right. What we're trying to establish is what steps have you taken to make sure this won't happen again? Because we take our liquor licenses very seriously. So I'm hearing, based on Dee's questions, that you've trained the people since this happened. Are you the owner? Are you also the liquor license holder?
Oh, I'm not.
Was the liquor license holder on site that night? The person whose name is on the liquor license?
He's off.
Okay, so our regulations state that someone who's on the liquor license should be in the building at all times. And I'm hearing that didn't happen.
Yeah, right now I know it.
Through you to the clerk, do you have the license? How many names are on there?
What I have here is the form that we used when we transferred it from the previous owner, and this
Yeah.
does indicate that Shi Long Hu is the liquor manager.
Okay.
That's your name, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, so
he
that is
in
you.
fact
You are the
manager.
liquor. Okay, you hold the liquor license. Okay. Are there alternates on that?
I don't have the alternate sheet. I'd have to step
Okay.
out to get
No,
it.
that's all right. It's not that important. I just, if you had it ready. Okay. I think that's all the questions I have a need for tonight. I'm concerned that it happened. I'm hopeful it won't happen again. I'm not sure that that I'm comfortable that all the steps that can be taken have been taken to make sure it doesn't happen again. But I'll look to the other board members for what their recommendations are.
Yep, so I think you want to make sure that you do check licenses for people and that training is being done. This is a public hearing. Does anybody in the audience have any comments?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second, okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, what's the will of the board?
Madam Chairman, I'd make a motion that we suspend the license for 1 day, held in abeyance for 1 year.
I second
There's a second.
Second?
No, Mike
it.
seconded
Yeah, I'm
it.
sorry, I
Second?
second that.
But I'd like to, for discussion,
Okay,
there had been a practice of 3 days held in abeyance.
I'm looking at the situation. It was, they're not supposed to happen. They happen. He took ownership of the issue right away. He didn't give the police a hard time, from what I understand. Very cooperative. That goes a long ways. Am I concerned that he's doing proper training? I hope he does, and if he's not, then he'll be back before us at some point in time, I'm sure, and that won't look good on his record. But
I'm in favor of consistency for past practice, but if we're going to make this the new, if we're going to make this the new
I
level.
understand, but I've looked back at the records back for 20 years. There's no consistency.
It's usually 3 days held in abeyance.
Over 20 years, there's no consistency. It's board to board.
To you, Madam Chair, to the chief, has this establishment, did this happen in recent memory, or they're usually pretty good?
This is the first time we've had issue with this establishment since they opened, I believe. And it had changed ownership in about a year ago, so we've had no issues at the location.
Okay.
It changed ownership in June 18th of '24, and there has not been any issue since that time.
Okay, okay. I will support select board members Bennett.
Okay, so you're going to make a motion?
He already did.
Okay. Okay, do I have any?
You had, Dan made the motion to suspend 1 day, held in abeyance for a year. Mike seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, next we will be doing 3 individual public hearings will be held regarding the Select Board's proposed revisions to the following. We do have Sally here, if you want to go up for any questions. The town manager can update us on the process, on what to do tonight. I think we'll hold the 3 public hearings. If the public has anything to say about, say, item number 1, the Town Meeting Act, item 2, the Town Manager Act, and number 3, the recall bylaw, we'll bring them up section by section. Board members, does that sound good?
Point of information, is
Yes.
this the only public hearing on these items?
I believe so, yes.
From the select board.
From the Select Board, yes,
FinCom will have their normal
right.
public hearings too.
I hope somebody shows up.
Madam Clerk, you provided us with a copy of the acts as presented and amended by the Select Board, based on the recommendations of the committee, who did a lot of hard work, and, we all wordsmith and change things. But so how are you going to proceed tonight? Are you going to read off a section and then ask for public comment? How is the best way to
Town
proceed?
manager, do you
If I
want-
may,
Yes.
Madam Chair, I don't think she meant section by section. She meant you're going to open a public hearing on the Town Meeting
Okay.
Act, hear from the public, close the
did
town
mean
meeting,
that,
the
sorry.
hearing on
Yep.
on the Town Meeting Act. And then open it on the Town Manager Act?
Okay, that's fine.
Public.
So.
So there
we're-
are 3 separate public hearings because there are 3
All right.
separate
Okay.
bylaws.
I did have one post comment based on this document. I assume we're starting with the Town Meeting Act.
Yes.
Okay. In looking at this and, obviously I've been poring over this, Section 2, the number of elected town, because I was looking, there was a lot of robust discussion about the number of town meeting members, whether, it encourages more participation to reduce the number, which seems anathema to me. But anyhow, in that section, on page 3, Section 2, first paragraph, into the first paragraph, it says that the number of elected town meeting members, which each precinct is entitled for ensuing, should be determined by the town clerk. Is that consistent with the law, or, because when we changed it based on the consensus, I forget which year it was, it might have been 2018, I thought it was brought before the board and it was a board decision.
This was all reviewed by Town Council.
Sally, do you have anything to say on that?
Well, I get one thing that's actually preliminary to that issue is I haven't seen what you all are looking at, so I'll be answering kind of in the dark. But in during our committee work, and I communicated frequently with the town clerk, my impression was that the town clerk generates, based on the census, calculates how many should be per precinct, and all of it has to be approved, runs up through the state and comes back down, et cetera. So I don't remember when it was before the select board in the past. I don't have the historical knowledge of how it happened before.
Well, are we talking about the number of people in a precinct?
Yes.
Well, it's done after every census.
It is. Yes, you're correct. And in I think it was 2018, we were on the board, and the recommendation was to move from 15 to 18. And I believe that was a select board decision, or maybe it was just a recommendation by the clerk that we adopted or accepted. I just couldn't remember. Is the board comfortable with the town clerk deciding that number, or is it really a purview of the town meeting, the Board of Selectmen?
I would assume it's a recommendation from the town clerk that we approve,
So then,
my assumption.
right, so then I would suggest that this change to say the number of elected town meeting members to which, and actually, before I do that, town clerk, is my memory correct? Was it Joe? It was Joe who did it at that time. Do you have any recollection of whether it's a state precedent and we're following that, which is fine, or do you have any strong feeling about the clerk making or recommending?
I think that the clerk would be best to see what the historical flow of the town meeting body is.
Okay.
So, is there, are there not enough seats? Are there too many people running? So we would look at that.
Yeah.
And I did at some point do a little bit of research on at what point it went from, 12 to 18 per precinct.
Yeah.
I don't have that information
Okay.
with me tonight.
All right. I'm not going to push it hard. It struck me that who has specific places who has the authority, and I'm fine with the town clerk.
I can say that I would not, on my own, make that decision.
Well, this is what it says.
Well, that may be what it says, but I would
Okay.
put a recommendation together if I thought that it needed to be changed.
Okay. All right. I'm comfortable with this. I'm comfortable with the other edits in here, but to the point that Sally's making, was this document put on the town
Yeah,
website?
this is posted in the packet and on the website
Okay.
at the same day as packet. So sorry, Sally, if that didn't
No worries.
get directly to you.
So
And we
on-
announced at the last meeting that was the plan, that there would be the select board version.
So is that in the section of the town website where the agenda is located?
That's Kathy's purview.
The materials are in two places. They are on the calendar. If you went to today's date on the calendar, each document is listed there, Town Manager Act, Town Meeting Act, and the bylaw. And then as well, there's a section under the Select Board that says Town Meeting Materials. So all the materials would be under meeting materials under the date of the meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
God, are you all set?
I'm happy to give up my copy, Sally, if you want to look at
No, that's
while
o-
you're talking.
that's
Does
okay.
that make
Thank you.
sense?
Donna, you're all set, right?
Yeah, I feel for, I understand the trepidation that Sally has. I completely, it's going to be hard for the public to comment unless they took the initiative to go and get it printed out. But I'm comfortable with all the other changes we made that are reflected here.
And I'm happy to, Madam Chair, update on the process, just so everyone's clear. As you said, we've been saying since the beginning of the review that the board would have their public hearing on this date, December 16th, and we updated the public via the packet and at the board meeting that this is now considered the select board version. So everything in here has been discussed at all the previous, we have 2 or 3 meetings. The board has all had a chance to review it. They should have received it, I think, last Wednesday or Thursday. So we've continued along the same timeline I apologize if that wasn't clear. The next step after this is for them to finalize the warrant, which that meeting you'll see at the bottom of this agenda if you haven't picked up on it, will be January 7th. We're moving the meeting date from January 6th to January 7th. And then it goes to the Finance Committee. That date is January 15th. And then tonight, the board will set a date for a special town meeting.
Okay, great, thank you. Mike, do you have any changes or anything, or comments for the Town Meeting Act?
I do not. I do not.
Dee?
No, just looking forward to hearing from the residents and see what they have to say.
Yep, after us. And Dan?
All set.
Okay, so, folks, this is a public hearing. Does anyone in the audience have anything with regard to the Town Meeting Act? Please go up and introduce yourself. Thank you. Lauren? Ladies before gentlemen?
Lauren Steves, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 3. First, on page 1, section 1, the last sentence needs to be changed from selectmen to select board. I didn't see, it's at like the very bottom of the page. I see the capital S.
I gotcha. Thank you.
And then I wanted to talk about the fact that the Town Meeting Review Committee had recommended reducing town meeting from 18 to 15 members per precinct. And that reduction is permissible. The Town Meeting Act does not establish a minimum number of members per precinct. It only requires that representation be divisible by 3 and roughly proportional to population. Because Danvers precincts have equal population, 15 members per precinct complies with the Act. And while the Select Board may not be moving forward with the committee's recommendation, I believe Town Council acknowledged that under Home Rule, the town has the authority to adopt bylaws that are more restrictive than state law so long as they are not inconsistent with it. As such, reducing size of town meeting is not legally prohibited from how I understood it. It's a policy choice. Personally, having observed members arrive unprepared or not attend at all for multiple years in a row, I believe a smaller body may actually improve accountability, participation, and quality of deliberation. And that's all I have for the Town Meeting Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Mike?
Madam Chair, to that point, where we're talking about that particular section.
Yeah.
I do not remember and recall in this discussion, including with the committee, that discussion about the legality of it, the non-legality of it, so on and so forth, and the comment that it's not, that there is no reason we could not, is not the reason. The legality of it was not the reason I did not choose to reduce it. I don't believe that reducing it encourages participation. If anything, opening up seats, we often have contested seats, and I don't think it's a matter of supply and demand. And I don't think reducing supply is a way to encourage participation. So my decision and my comments were not based on my thought that it was not legal. It was on, I want to make it as representative as possible. And anecdotal observations aside about preparedness or people who are not there. Every year we have people who, for various reasons, can't be there. But we often don't have empty seats. They are filled at a caucus, they are filled at an election, and often we have contested elections, and I would actually like to see more people be able to participate. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a little bit of some of the statistics of attendance at our last several meetings. Since we've been at 18 members per precinct, so our town meeting would be 149 people. That's 18 per precinct plus the 5 members of the select board. And it varies. I mean, I didn't look at special town meeting. I mean, I did, but those meetings are different than the annual town meetings. Time of year, the issues, availability, et cetera. So for the annual town meeting in 2020, there were 145 people present. For the annual town meeting for, I wasn't in chronological order as I was doing my study. It was the full count, 117 people in 2020, 125 people in 21, 128 people in 22. In 2023, it was 122 people. So it's pretty high. It's not perfect. And I also looked at election results, and I could do the next couple of years too, but you get the idea. It's close to the complement, but it's not everybody. And in the looking at election results over the years, especially since we bumped up to 18, there are plenty of times, well, there are times when there's not enough people running to fill all the seats that are open. And as we've mentioned, the caucuses are to deal with those. And it appears that caucus so far has resulted in the full complement per each district. But it's just kind of a haphazard way to do it, in my opinion. A caucus is not the same as a vote by the people in the precincts. It's a vote by other members of, other town meeting members that are already in that precinct. I've seen people be elected based on the information I've looked at with just a couple of votes. And that's okay. I mean, a vote is a vote, and if you get in and you're within the top 6 and so on and so forth. But I agree with what Lauren said. I feel that streamlining the size can, in fact, increase productivity, can increase the attention to the spots. But I've gone over that with you at prior meetings. But
I did the same numbers, and consistently we've had 85% or higher. The one year, the 2020. That's when the year when the town meeting was moved to June because of COVID. So I would almost consider that like a special town meeting and put that in that category. That was the anomaly to the dates. 85%, meaning that 20 people might be out of that body. I understand, but I just can't wrap my head around reducing the supply doesn't increase the demand. So, thank you.
Okay. Mike? Sure.
I'm okay. Oh, I'm sorry, the wrong mic.
Wrong mic.
All right. Thank you.
Hi,
That's
Mike
better.
Trainer.
I like that better.
Town meeting member, precinct 5.
Wonderland.
I just want to say I also support reducing the size of town meeting down to 15. I just think having a slightly, and I say slightly, smaller group of people that really want to be there. I mean, obviously there are contested elections, but like other people said, I go there a lot of times, sit down and just hear someone say, okay, so what are we doing tonight? And which is fine. I'm glad you're there. I'm glad you're participating. But like I said, I think just having a smaller group of people that are more focused, more researched on it, in my opinion, is a better way to go. Thank you.
Does anybody else want to get up? Okay, so, okay, Nova.
Nova.
Yeah, thank you.
Nova San Mateo Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1, and also one of the committee members from this review committee. I also just am in support of reducing it to 15 for the reasons that everyone has said. I understand the idea that if we open it up, we'll get more participation, but that's not what's happening. Because while we do have some contested, we don't have a lot of contested. So it's at 18, and it's already not inviting a lot of people to participate. That's not what we're seeing at 18. So the idea that letting more in is going to increase participation is not what's happening. So 15, I think, would be, I mean, we can try it. Doesn't have to be permanent forever, but it might be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Go right up. Please introduce yourself, too.
I wasn't planning on speaking. Richard Baldick, Precinct 4. It doesn't matter if you went down to 10 people. There's still only a certain amount of people that are going to get up and say something, I think. Keep it the way it is. Like you say, less isn't better, better isn't less. I mean, you're going to make people say, well, if they're going to make it 15 this year, what makes them say it's not going to go down to 12 next year? So I say keep it the same, keep the people coming. There's still races out there that some precincts there's 4 or 5 extras that are running. So it could all depend on people's schedules too. So I just say keep it the same. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else want to? Bill?
Yeah.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I've been a town meeting member for maybe too many years, but nothing disappoints me more when I go to the annual town meeting and I see some of the town meeting members show up and the envelope that has the information for all of us to know and looked at, they've never even opened the envelope. They're opening it as they appear and walk through the door. Very disappointed that people spend the time to run and then don't get involved. So whether it's 3 people or 33 people or 300 people, you're always going to get some people who, for whatever reason, choose to run, not necessarily for the right reason. Thank you.
Anybody else? Please go up. Thank you.
Fawn Anderson, town meeting member, Precinct 6, and I was also on the commission with studying the Town Manager Act. I also voted in support of reducing the numbers, and I agree with the reasons that have been put forth to increase engagement, but I think our commission's report made some other suggestions about how to encourage that through training opportunities. I also feel that something that's not being discussed right now is the representation within each precinct, because we're talking about 85% people attending, we're talking about the numbers overall of people attending being quite high, but having been in a precinct where we were unable to fill.
Amend it doesn't speak to a number. It speaks to a calculation, and it speaks to the fact that the town clerk has the authority to assign that number. And if we want to pursue changing that, either changing this document to codify a number, which I don't think I would be in support of any number, I think that it is past this with the calculation as presented, which is basically by state, that is state mandated, and not codify a number. And if we want to have this discussion, if the citizens want to recommend that recommendation and bring it to us, I think that's outside the purview of this charter. I'm looking to codify this charter, not a number in this charter. So I hear the concern, I hear the thoughts, I hear the options and the considerations, but unless we're ready to put a hard number in this document, I don't think, I think this is a discussion or debate for another time.
Well, if I may, again, this is the disadvantage because I haven't seen the version that you're looking at. That's my own fault. But the committee did recommend putting in the number 15 for precinct.
And I think that the board, in its deliberations,
has rejected
recommended
that.
not.
I understand, but one potential benefit of even just having this discussion, because we've talked about it now at least 3 different meetings, and I missed one, so there could have been further discussion beyond that, but by meetings of your board. But by discussing it, we might be helping to solve the problem that we all see as town meeting members. So that's my hope.
Madam Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
The conversation is good. According to Sally's calculations, we've averaged 15 and a half members per precinct over the last number of years. We certainly can entertain a conversation about a number in the future, but I'd hesitate to put a number in this document. Then we're held to that until the next time we review it. So whatever the number that we want to go forwards with, we can have that discussion at some point. I mean, I could go either way, 18, 15. Dee's original comment back early on was we should do a better job of educating, encouraging people to run. We should try that. But I would not want to put a number in a document that only gets reviewed every 20, 30 years.
And among the recommendations that the committee made also dealt a lot with, encouraging people to become active, to be involved, and to try to restate that concept that town meeting members are voted within their precinct to represent the people that live in their precinct. And I think that representational aspect has somehow floated away over the years. People don't tend to think, as a town meeting member, I didn't think in the past about my representing the people in my neighborhood, but I see that more and more since I've worked on this committee. That alone might help bring out a more activist type of participation that we would love to see. By we, I mean the committee members.
Anybody else? Okay, can I have a motion to close the public hearing on the town meeting?
Motion to
act-
close the public hearing.
on the
Second
town
the
meeting
motion.
act? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Madam Chair, I move we present the warrant to the FinCom as presented.
Do I have a
Move this,
second?
with a favorable recommendation.
Do I have a second?
So, Madam Chairman, are we going to discuss the warrant articles on the 6th, 7th, 8th, whatever that date is?
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
Oh, this
approving
is,
one.
okay, this is just a
We're
public
moving
hearing.
it to-
All right,
yeah.
fine, I rescind that. Madam Chair, before we move, I'd like to ask, before we move to the next one, we've got town employees here waiting for item number 12. I'm wondering if you, 11, I'm wondering if you wouldn't entertain moving 11 up before we start talking about the Town Manager Act.
I was just going to suggest that, yeah, absolutely. So why don't we hold off on number 9, number 2, and then we're going to move, let's go to number 11. The board will hear detailed information as requested on 2/2 on December 2nd pursuant to a request to modify the previously granted application of Wakefield Associates, Joe Roberto, project manager, to occupy the public way in front of 17 Elm Street.
And Madam Chair,
Probably
I'm
wait
sorry
for
I didn't
town
notice the town
manager.
manager
Yeah.
stepped up, and I'm wondering if we can't hear from the town representative before about what the state of
Yeah.
the condition is.
Here, we'll talk to Tim. Do you want to go up and give us a little update, please, Tim?
Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you very much. For the record, my name is Timothy Hudon, and I currently serve as the building official here in the town of Danvers. So the situation at 17 Elm Street is progressing. So there has been some movement. I spoke with the town engineer, Stephen King. He has approved the repavement of the sidewalk. My last inspection was today in excuse me, in relation to the scaffolding. So at this time, the scaffolding has been deemed not compliant, still not compliant. They are moving forward in the right direction. However, there are still some issues that need to be addressed. So at this point, the stop work order still stands on the property, and we, again, do not have compliant pedestrian protection at this time.
Does the scaffolding not in compliance mean that the public way is still being utilized as it was previously?
So we did have an issue with that on Monday. So when I came in on Monday, I noticed that the scaffolding had been opened. The public was using the tunnel while the scaffolders were working above and around them. I did email the developer and tell him, remind him again that the tunnel needs to remain closed until it is approved to be opened. So the tunnel was shut back down. Pedestrian traffic was routed back into the street so that they could perform some repairs. That was Monday. They did do some repairs on the scaffolding, requested another inspection today, and that inspection failed as well.
So that I'm clear, they're still utilizing the street?
Correct.
Which was what was supposed to end as of the 15th, if
Correct.
everything was in compliance and everything was signed off?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to get clarity. Thank you.
Okay, Mike, do you have questions?
Nope, answered.
Dee?
No, I'm just waiting to find out what is it that is within the jurisdiction of this board and what the applicant is here, the update from the applicant. So.
Dan?
Well, we heard the update. It failed. They're working to get it into compliance. We passed the deadline. Nothing we can do until building inspector approves it. He won't approve it till it's correct.
I guess I would like some clarity on when, I would like to hear from the developer or the representation about when this will be completed. I don't want to leave it open-ended.
I don't know, I don't want to leave it open either, but since January of this year, they came before us, they asked for permission, they weren't ready. They've asked for extension of 60 days, we gave it to them.
Our bylaws
Project-
call for, I believe, 2 extensions, possible extensions. Have we given both?
We gave them 60 days to the 15th, this would be the second, I believe.
The one that just expired would be the second, or because this predates me, some of this predates me.
It predates you, went back to January when they
So
first came
is-
before us.
is what-
But that was to occupy the public way to October. I could ask the developer, I think, or Tim, the original was to occupy the public way through until when?
I don't have that information in front of me. I do believe that that was the
It was the
second
October date, and they came before us in October and asked for the 60-day extension, which we gave them.
So now they've exceeded the 2 extensions.
No, I think just the one.
Okay, that's the question I'm asking. Are they
Yeah.
here to present a request for an extension, and for how long? Because that would be the normal course of action.
Right, I believe
If this is going to be the second extension, they should be applying for a second extension with an end date to let us know when they're going to no longer utilize the street.
To you, Madam Chair, I
Yes.
think the project has things that are within our jurisdiction and things that are within other board jurisdiction. So I'll be curious to find out from the applicants what they're here for and what is it that is required of us. Because I'm not sure what.
Well,
Well,
yeah, because they didn't meet the extension date.
Right, our purview is
The
the
street.
use of the public way.
Okay.
Just like that sign was over the use of the public way, we're not building inspectors, we're not planning board, we're not all of that. That's someone else's specialty.
So that's
Ours
still
are, they're
being-
using the street, consuming use of the street, and we gave them
until the 15th.
until the 15th as a second extension, first or second, I'm not sure which it is.
Okay, so it was until the 15th, and now you're saying that it's still being used. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I don't know.
And
should
that's our purview. Our purview is the public way. So I'm interested in understanding, and maybe the applicant, maybe or representation understands whether this can answer whether this is the first or whether the 15th ended the first extension or the 15th ended the second extension would be an important point to know. And what are their plans going forward? Because they're now working without a permit as of the 16th.
Yeah, can we have the representative get up there? And just, please introduce yourself for people that don't know you already. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name's Nancy McCann, and I'm here on behalf of the developer. With me tonight is Rodney Grameras. He is the general contractor for this project. And this, to answer the question, it would be a third extension. We have had 2 extensions. The extension expired yesterday, December 15th, and we believed we were completed. So let me go through what has occurred since December 2nd, the last time we were here. Since then, the asphalt sidewalk was removed and reinstalled. So the original paving that was done by the developer was found to have some sloping issues and some other issues that we talked about at the last meeting. That asphalt was removed, it was reinstalled, the ADA detectable panel was installed, and on December 10th, the sidewalk work was completed, inspected, and approved by Stephen King. On December 3rd, so one day after the last time we met with you, the developer hired Lothrop Company to design and install a code-compliant scaffolding. So no time was wasted. That was immediately done the next day. On December 5th, Lothrop submitted through the GC to the building inspector a scaffolding plan. Comments were received from Mr. Hudon. A revised scaffolding plan was submitted to the building inspector on December 9th. On December 11th, the scaffolding plan was approved by the building inspector. And on December 11th, immediately after the approval, the scaffolding installation began. The scaffolding installation was, as far as the developer thought, completed yesterday, December 15th. That was the date when it was supposed to be completed. And there was an inspection done, I believe at about 11 a.m. yesterday morning by the building inspector, and he advised through an email that there were deficiencies that he pointed out. One had to do with a 4-foot section between 13 and 15 Elm Street, and the barrier fencing screening that was presented in the Lothrop scaffolding plan was not consistent with what had been installed. So that was yesterday. This morning, the developer went forward with addressing the 4-foot section that was pointed out yesterday in Mr. Houdon's letter. And today at 3:24, we received the building inspector's comments relative to the inspection that he did today, and we certainly appreciate the building inspector going out and inspecting so quickly. And in that communication of late this afternoon, he's requested an additional 11-foot section of scaffolding to run further down Elm Street to provide protection beyond the 15 Elm Street frontage, but going a bit beyond to protect 13 Elm Street and pedestrians along that section. It was not clear to the developer and the scaffolding company from the email that was received yesterday about the 4-foot section that there was also this 11-foot section that was being requested. The building inspector also pointed out again today that the screening barriers and fencing didn't match the Lothrop plan. So those are the two outstanding items from the reinspection today. I spoke directly with Patrick Lothrop from Lothrop Scaffolding Company late this afternoon, about 4:30. I requested if he could come here this evening, and he had another commitment, but I did speak with him, and he agrees that the installation of this additional 11-foot section is appropriate, and that installation can be commenced by his company tomorrow morning. And it should be completed in a day or two. It's not a big deal putting that section in. The GC will be installing the screening barriers and fencing so that it is consistent with the Lothrop plan. The Lothrop plan, scaffolding plan, is what was submitted to the building inspector. It's what he approved. It's what we should be putting in. So that can be done. And we anticipate that all of that, which is not that much, is an additional section, as well as making sure that the screening, the barriers, there were Jersey barriers shown on the plan. We'll make sure that those are in, and all of that, so that the sidewalk can safely be reopened and pedestrians safely accessing under the scaffolding. That should be able to be completed by the end of this week. So it's another couple of days. So, again, the developer thought that he had made the deadline to have everything completed yesterday, the 15th. It was re-inspected. There were a couple of items. Took care of the 4-foot section today, re-inspected again. There's an additional section that Mr. Houdon is requiring based on the code, and some of the screening and barrier fencing needs to be consistent with the plan. And that's it. So that's where we are. So to the extent that we need an extension, which we do, we would be requesting that till the end of this week. We think it can be done in that amount of time.
Gardner?
Well, so my next question was going to be and maybe the building inspector knows or not. I believed it was that our rules and regulations is that you can get up to 2 extensions. I don't mind issuing another extension. I'm gonna go down the path of issuing another extension and give him a little more than just the end of the week, because I don't want to, supplies, whatever it might be, weather, who knows. But I don't want to work without a permit, because I want to make sure we aren't exposing the town if something should happen legally. And maybe that's a town manager question.
Madam Chair, if I may, so I agree. We would like them to get in order as quickly as possible. So I support the idea of a very short extension with some terms for potential fines. So one of the things that the building commissioner, myself, and Aaron from Director of Land Use and Community Services talked about was really this board. What we're talking about is the use of the public way. So it's the parking spots, the 7 parking spots that they need in order to set up the scaffold, make these corrections. So we would propose, so they're 60 days late on completing the work, and we would propose that if you require any additional time beyond, say, Friday, I think that was the request, then the town, we would ask that you consider per space, per day fee. It could start as soon as tomorrow, or if you want to give them to Friday. We said approximately, we looked at, $300 per space per day, which gives this board some recourse so they don't come back again, and hopefully give them some incentive to get moving and get this taken care of.
Thank you. I guess I teed up the softball for you. I had no idea you had already gone through that. So I'm going to recommend that we provide an extension, a third extension. I'm sorry, when does town, I should be able to look here and tell you when town hall closes next week on the 24th. It's closed on Wednesday, the 24th.
Before the recommendation, because that would be like a motion.
I'm going to make a motion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion that we provide a...
Can I ask a question before?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I just, again, have no idea what construction looks like. So the additional section that we're talking about, was that part of the plan that was presented to the town?
I don't believe it was. It was not part of the Lothrop plan.
Okay.
So this is something new that Lothrop agrees makes sense. But as far as the plan that was submitted for the scaffolding that was approved, it was not part of that plan. That is my understanding.
Should it have been part of the plan? If not,
When we have the building commissioner go.
because I just don't understand how you have a plan that's approved and then we have an extension that's needed. Like, should that not have been part of the original plan submitted to the town?
So, with respect, I think that this has been a trying process, I would say, for all involved. We are doing our best to work with the developer to get the information that we need, but it is a struggle. The plan that was presented and approved did not show a site plan of where the scaffolding would be. It was simply the design of the scaffolding. So the initial scaffolding that went up did not meet the requirements of Chapter 33 in the Building Code, which is safeguards during construction. The plan that Lothrop presented did meet, they proved out how the scaffolding met the requirements and the loads that need to be in place for the pedestrian protection. It did not include locations of the scaffolding. We have presented the developer multiple times with excerpts of the code, going as far as taking them out of the code book, scanning them, and sending them in a PDF to the applicant, letting them know that they clearly need to comply with Chapter 33. In Chapter 33 of a code, there is a table. It's 3306.1, and it gives you requirements based on the distance from construction, and the height of the building tells you how far out you need your pedestrian protection. So where we are on this building is traditionally a quarter of the height. So it's a 4-floor, 45-foot building. A quarter of that height is roughly 11 feet, 11.25, or 3 inches. So that is where we are. What the developer did, or what the scaffolder did, is stop that scaffolding right where 17 and 15 are. So you could stand right in that corner, look up, and a mason will be laying CMUs 45 feet above your head. It's clearly a hazardous situation. That needs to be extended. Those requirements in those dimensions are given in the code through the table. It is the developer's responsibility and the contractor's responsibility to know the code, look in the code, and be able to complete that work. With respect, we are not project managers, we are not designers. In fact, the code gives us the authority to enforce 780 CMR. It would be a violation of the state ethics for us to design a product or a solution and then turn around and approve it. So we keep that at arm's length. Again, it has been a trying situation. We are not here to micromanage. With a construction of this size, commercial that is under construction control, there is an assumption of competency on the development side. We are struggling with, again, communicating with them, making sure that everything is clear, but still keeping that boundary that we are not the PMs and we are not the designers for the project. So no, there was no specific plan that showed exactly where the scaffolding would go. We accepted the plan showing how the scaffolding would be built and provided them the copy of a code, again, multiple times, trusting that they would be able to put the two together and design and install a compliant scaffolding.
Okay.
So that is where we are.
Okay, I just to button this because what was constructed, did they align with what was approved?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what was approved should have included all of this. Is that correct?
So I think we may be speaking about two different things.
Yeah.
So again, the plan did not show a site plan of where the scaffolding would go. The location of the scaffolding is determined through Chapter 33 in the building code. That is a standard.
So it doesn't show you who approve it, where it goes. It just tells you this is what I'm going to be doing.
Correct. So on two things is correct. It does not show where it was going. It just showed how it was being built. And as Attorney McCann said, it was not built to the plan.
Okay.
So we have three issues. There's another issue along the backside, but that is private property, so it's not the purview of the board. That needs to get resolved as well. But the two issues that are the purview of this board is, one, the extension closer on the 15 Elm side, and then again, the screening, the fencing, and the barrier on the inboard side of the construction.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking is I just want to make sure that we don't have this 11 feet added and then something else needs to be added. So that's why I'm asking if this will be it. Like if they comply with this, could there be something else that they need to do by the code that they either don't know about or that they are not doing well? That's only
So
my
they still need to address the inboard protection, which again was referenced in my Monday email. The email that I got from the developer this morning said, yes, we are all set. And I went out there and it is still, the conditions on site still do not match the plan set. Okay. So there are two issues. I don't foresee anything else as far as the public right of way as the extensions go. But again, we're happy to have them submit a new plan if we need to have that done. Again, given the time frame, there was already back and forth with the scaffolder. Again, we try not to draw that out longer than it needs to be. But again, given the continued miscommunication on the site, maybe that is something that we hold them to further in the future. Again, if the board would like for a formalized set of plans, that's fine. We can certainly hold them to that. However, that's something that they're going to have to get us a site plan for that's going to need to be reviewed and approved. That is probably significantly going to bump out that time frame. So again, we're trying to be reasonable, and again, with the assumption of competency, we're not looking at every single minute detail. It's more of an overarching plan, and we trust that they will do it in accordance with the code.
Okay. One last one, Madam Chair, and this is for the applicant. I know this is saying you don't cut the hand that feeds you, but I'll ask this anyway. Do you think the town has been helpful in this process? Do you think that we as a town are doing all we can to help you be compliant? And if so, what's the hiccup? What could have been done differently so that we don't find ourselves in this situation requiring. And if you don't want to disparage the town, that's fine, because obviously you need the town. But are we doing all we can to make sure that this goes on smoothly? And if so, are you pledging to holding your end of the bargain so that we don't find ourselves here again?
I think I discussed this actually with Mr. Roberto this afternoon. Is there anything that would be more helpful or could be helpful?
Exactly.
And that would be a meeting on the site with the GC and the scaffolding contractor and Mr. Houdon as we get to this finish line, which we really think we are, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Is it absolutely necessary? No. We have a plan. We submitted a plan. That's what we should be building to. And I agree with Mr. Houdon on that point. But it might be helpful to have that conversation on site. So is there anything else that could be done? An on-site meeting could be done and could be helpful and might be helpful going forward with this project, rather than the developer emailing the building inspector and saying the work is done, and then the building inspector goes out to inspect and the crew is not there. That makes, that's going back and forth with the emails, just like the email yesterday was not understood, that there was an 11-foot additional section that needed to be put in. And when that was brought up today, as I said, I called the scaffolding company, and he said he agrees with that makes sense to do. And so we're certainly willing to do that, but I think the developer submits plans, and that's what should be
And
built.
I understand they can't really design the plan for you. That's not within their purview. Have you made that request, or is that something because we really...
I'm sorry,
Have
what
you made the
request?
request for that on-site visit?
I believe the crew has. I have not, and I just discussed that again myself with Mr. Roberto today.
Okay.
And I think it would be helpful just to make sure that this is done. If the scaffolding company gets out there tomorrow and can have this buttoned up by Thursday, then maybe, Thursday afternoon there might be a meeting out on the site to make sure that everything is done. And I said the end of the week, and I think that is reasonable. And they've worked very hard since the December 2nd meeting to get a lot of stuff done. We knew that was going to be a push to get that done, and they thought they were there, but there are obviously 2 items in particular that are still outstanding that need to be addressed. And we're not contesting that at all. They just has to be done, and we think it can certainly be done by Thursday. An on-site meeting might be helpful. And then we're done by Friday. Now, as far as the imposition of what I think are rather high fines, if you will, normally it's a $300 a day fine, not a $300 per parking space time frame. So maybe a few more days might be helpful before that starts getting to be imposed.
Mike, any questions, Gardner?
I'm ready to make a motion if
Mike,
everybody's gotten
do you
their
have any
questions through.
Mike?
I wanted to hear what you had to say.
Okay. And I'll make a motion, hopefully someone will second it, and then we'll have that discussion. And I've written it down, Kathy, if you don't want to. I move we grant an extension, and actually, before I do, I'm going to ask for an extension until noon of Tuesday, 23rd. Is it reasonable to think that you could get to an inspection on Tuesday, the 23rd, between noon and the end of the day? Okay, great. I move we grant an extension until noon on December 23rd, after which we impose a fine of $1,000 per day until both the successful building inspection and the street is reopened for public use. So I don't know if anybody wants to second that or not.
Do we have a
or
second?
Beat it up?
I'll second it.
All right, does anybody want to do another motion, or all in favor? Any discussion? Second.
Can I chime in on that?
Is there an opportunity for, is there clarity that can be offered to the
My
motion?
concern is that if at the end of the day on Tuesday, the inspection is done and there is a problem, we then have a holiday,
Right.
town holiday, and I would hate to see fines imposed
Okay.
Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the day after.
So I will suggest that fines to start on the 29th.
Yep.
Which allows people to
Monday.
have their holiday and the weekend. And so starting on the 29th, unless there's a successful building approval certificate and that the parking spots are available to the public, starting on the 29th, we would impose a fine.
Is that a Monday?
That's the Monday.
So we have a motion and a second.
Excuse me. could you
Okay,
clarify?
yes, I will.
Yeah.
I move we grant an extension until noon on Tuesday, the 23rd.
Yeah.
After which, we impose a fine of $1,000 per day, starting on Monday, 12/29, until the successful building inspection and the street is open for public use.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Yes, I second it.
Second.
Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor?
So, when you started with this motion, I was gonna tag along. Now you're giving them 2 weeks. I'm not gonna vote in favor.
Given the, well,
It's 2 weeks. 13 days, excuse
do
me.
you want them to remove it on starting earlier? Granted, I'm not going to, the 23rd and 20, because I'm looking at the ability of the town to do its portion of this, which is we're closed on the 23rd and 24th. 24th and 25th. So given that, there would be no opportunity for, if they didn't complete it by Tuesday, the 23rd, there'd be no opportunity for our town building inspection to happen, could happen on the 26th, I suppose. Do you want to give them a day or two after the holiday, or not give them a day or two after the
The
holiday?
26 I could go along with.
Giving them starting the 26th, or giving them the 26th?
Done by the 26th, or the fine goes into effect immediately.
I mean, the concern is if our town people have things going on right after Christmas. they
Well,
may
and
not
that's
be
why I
able
want to
to-
make
Tim, do
sure.
you wanna
That's why I
go-
asked
yeah,
Mr.
let's have-
May
Hudon
not be
what
able
his,
to
what
get
his
to
thought
eat.
is on his ability or his department's ability to satisfy
Friday.
this.
And we close at noon.
I don't want you working on a holiday.
They already,
I'll make myself available on the 26th, if that's the will of the board.
Noontime on the 26th?
Okay. So give them until, yep,
Noon the 26th?
okay, so,
I think that's being very
Why don't we
generous.
clarify that? Let's redo it again.
yep, I will. So, given that you can't, I still suggest we get it done by the 23rd. That's the extent of the extension. We'll start the fines on the 26th.
You give them till the 26th, they'll probably take every bit of it, but that's okay.
Well, I'm saying it, okay, well, I'm trying to make something that's consumable by everybody.
Consumable was last Friday, was the 15th.
I get it. Yeah, this has been problematic, and I agree. I'm just trying not to be too heavy-handed on our, and I also don't want to impose too much on our town employees to overcome the issues that are the
Are you agreeable
development.
with the 26th?
Start fines on the 26th?
Yeah, is that, do you make that motion?
I want to be clear. You want to start fines on the 26th? Or you want to give them until the 26th?
We'll start fines on the, if it's not completed on the 26th, then that fine starts.
Okay.
Tim will say it's not done, fine starts that
All
day.
right, then I will, okay, once again, I move we grant an extension until the end of the day on the 26th,
Noontime.
noon on the 26th, at which points we will be fining them $1,000 per day until the successful building inspection is completed and the street is clear for public use. Please,
Can you clarify, the 23rd is now
gone.
gone? So
That's what I'm hearing from the,
26th, noon on the 26th. Tim will be there.
Yep.
You
Yep.
need to have this word.
Thank you,
Noon
Tim.
on the 26th. Is that your intent as well, Dan?
Looking at this date. Right.
I'm trying to be reasonable, giving them something,
Yeah,
and I don't want to give them anything. So.
I get it.
You can make a motion, and
Do we have a second?
So it's now, yep, until noon on the 26th, after which we impose fines.
Yes, second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
opposed.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim,
Appreciate
thank you,
your-
too.
We appreciate your consideration.
Have a good holiday.
Okay, so now we're going to go back to, public hearing will be held regarding the Select Board's proposed revisions to the following. Now we're going to do the Town Manager Act, please.
Madam Chair, I've gone through this again. I have no edits. I'm pleased that Section 33, the Finance Committee, matches the same as the Town Meeting Act, which was only my only open concern. Everything else was in here was fine.
Mike, do you have questions about the Town Manager Act?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Dee?
No question. Just want to hear from the
Ann.
residents.
I do have a comment, if I may. In the Town Manager Act, Section 24, and I asked Sally Calhoun why they didn't look at the tree warden, really didn't have an answer. The answer is, it goes back to the 1800s, and it was codified into law in 1899 that any community over 10,000 shall have a full-time tree warden. Hopefully, when some future governor reviews the antiquated laws, they eliminate that one. But it's there because it's by law.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome. Chapter 106, I think it was.
Okay, this is...
I have no
Yep,
questions.
this is a public hearing. Does anyone in the audience have any comments with regards to the Town Manager Act? Please go up to the podium and introduce yourself. Thank you, Lauren.
Lauren Steves, Precinct 3. I wanted to talk about the language in Section 8 that states, said town manager shall not be required to be a resident of the town or the Commonwealth. I have concern with this language. While I understand the desire for flexibility in recruitment, this provision removes all guardrails regarding where the town manager may live. State laws, regulatory frameworks, and municipal practices vary significantly from state to state. I'm not comfortable hiring a town manager who resides outside of Massachusetts and is not subject to the same legal, professional, and institutional environment as the communities they serve. As written, this language places no limits on proximity to Danvers, imposes no expectations for physical presence, and contains no standards regarding remote performance of duties. There is nothing in the Act that would prevent a town manager from living outside of the Commonwealth or performing their role remotely for extended periods of time. Given that it has been many years since this charter was last reviewed, and that it could be another 20 years before it's revisited, I believe it would be poor practice to move from a residency requirement to having no safeguards at all. If residency within Danvers is to be eliminated, there should at least be reasonable parameters in place, such as residency within Massachusetts, a defined distance from town, and/or clear expectations regarding in-person presence. Because this proposal contains no such standards, as a town meeting member, I do not support this language, and I will not vote in favor of it as written. I'm not inherently against removing the residency requirement, but I think there needs to potentially be something in there as far as proximity to town, or something that says when hiring a town manager, as long as all 5 select board members are in agreement that we're going to have this proximity, but if they're outside of it, all 5 of us agree that we're going to waive it. I don't like taking it out completely and having nothing in the act. I just don't agree with it. Moving on to Section 33, as it relates to the Finance Committee, it says, within 30 days after each annual representative town meeting, 3 members of said committee shall be appointed by the moderator to serve 3-year terms. If for any reason a vacancy occurs at the Finance Committee, such vacancy shall be filled by the moderator for the unexpired term. While this section clearly establishes the length and method of appointment for Finance Committee terms, the town website currently lists only the names of committee members and does not indicate when the individual members' 3-year terms begin or end, or how many terms have previously been served. I'm not sure this really needs to be explicitly restated in the Town Manager Act itself. However, for transparency and public understanding, I think the town should publish term start and end dates on the website, and I think that this same level of transparency should apply to all appointed and elected boards and committees on our town website, so we know how long someone's been in a position, when they started, when it is going to end. That's all I have for the act. I have a question, and maybe, Madam Chair, I don't know if you guys have the answer to this yet. Is it going to be one article for each charter? So is it going to say the select board votes to amend as stated all of the amendments in the town meeting charter, and then one warrant for we vote to adopt all of the changes?
I'm happy to answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And thank you for asking. The goal that we've talked about set with the select board chair, and I think I've discussed it with a couple other members, is we're actually going to do, for transparency reasons, an article for each section of each act. So that it's clear, because we are concerned about highlighting some over the others.
Mhm.
Everyone has different priorities. So there will be, I think there's 30-some sections in this one. Some we think will go more quickly than others. So we've decided that was, and thank you to the moderator, she asked me to refer to how they did it the last time 30 years ago, and that was how they did it and seemed to go smoothly.
Okay, that makes sense. And then my last question is, I know it's on the agenda about closing the warrant on the 23rd, but there was conversation about having a meeting on the 7th and on when those articles will be available, I guess, to the public. So
Happy
you
to
guys
take
might
that one too,
answer
Madam
that
Chair?
in a
Yes,
little
please.
bit, but.
Yeah. So they'll decide what day they're going to close the warrant. So in case there were any citizens petitions to come in between today and then, the original intention was to have a special meeting, but with holidays and things, we had trouble getting it scheduled. So the meeting which will be a regular meeting of the select board, will be January 7th. So and that packet will be be available the Thursday before that Wednesday.
So all the warrant articles will be available prior to that meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I agree with Lauren on the Commonwealth. It should read, however, shall be a resident of the Commonwealth.
I agree with that, too. Yep. I do. I definitely agree with that, Dan. Thank you, Lauren. Yes. Anybody else? Gardner?
No, I'd make a motion that we accept this with the correction in Section 8.
Yeah.
Where it says not be required a resident of the town, and change the or of the Commonwealth to but shall reside within the Commonwealth.
Within the Commonwealth. Mike?
I agree.
B?
I'm fine with it.
I agree. Let's make that
What did that
change.
miss? We missed that one.
Yep, that was good. All right, so, does anybody else have anything to say?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Nova, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. My motion will have to wait.
Yeah. Hold on.
Nova St. Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I don't have a problem with you adding the needs to reside within the Commonwealth. However, there are areas of the Commonwealth that are a lot farther than a different state. So if it has anything to do with distance to town, it doesn't make any sense. If you just want them to be part of like the laws of our state, sure, but New Hampshire is a lot closer than Springfield. Thank you.
And I think to the point that we had this discussion, because I was a strong advocate of an adjacent town.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the proximity issue.
right.
And the select board, in declaring the roles and responsibilities when we hire a town manager, have the opportunity to provide clarity on that.
Correct. Yeah. So I just want
Response time, all those things people have mentioned.
I just want to say that I support getting rid of the residency requirement, and also adjoining towns doesn't really didn't make much sense to me either. But so I just wasn't sure what the reason was for having to live within the state if other states are closer than some parts of this state. Thank you.
Anybody else? So do we have a motion to close the public hearing on the Town Manager Act?
Move we close the public hearing.
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye. And then I'll come back to my
It's the
motion.
will
It
of
was
the
a little
board.
premature.
Yeah.
I move we accept the, well, we're not, this isn't a motion. This isn't a motion. It's a public hearing.
We're not there yet.
I'll make
Yep.
that, all right, yeah, we'll make that
But
change.
with that edit,
But even with that, now, I mean, listening to her, she's making a good point. If we just say the Commonwealth, that doesn't really solve the problem of having the proximity. But you're also saying we have that within the role and responsibilities of the town manager.
the presumption is New Hampshire, they could live in Montana.
That,
You know,
that's right. So
if you don't, I think we've taken a big step from saying you have to live in this town, but doesn't say you have to live in this world. You know, I think that's just too broad. If you don't say, you know, and I think there's good points being made that it should be within the Commonwealth, and that person should be enjoined to the laws of the Commonwealth. So I think we might be slicing the bread a little too thin here. I'm not. If someone's from New Hampshire,
We need some guidance, and I think getting rid of the residency requirement is paramount.
yes.
And to make the argument, well, New Hampshire's just over the border, I get that, but it's still, they've got to live in the state.
Right. And I can't imagine that
20 years from now, they can
imagine a
change it.
select board would not require a response time that would support wherever the residency is when we offer a new job position.
Right.
So we don't, by writing it this way, we don't lose the opportunity for the select board to define the parameters of the town manager's job.
You know, one way to resolve this problem could be just to say they shall not have to be a resident of the town, period, and not refer to state, to the state. I don't know if that helps resolve the dilemma you have. It's just they don't
No,
have
but
to-
I actually like within the Commonwealth,
I like
because
that
if you
within
say with, not in the state, now you're saying they can live in
What I'm saying
Montana
is you don't
again.
have to address the state at all. You just say they're, right now there's a requirement they have to reside in the town, and you could just say that requirement no longer applies. You don't have to define what state or not state within the Commonwealth in New Hampshire or not. You can just bypass that problem altogether by just saying they don't have to be a resident of the town.
But that omission, if you don't set some guardrails, there
No,
are no guardrails.
Sally makes a good point.
But you say Montana. I mean, it's again, if you remove something,
That's absurd.
how is it any more absurd than New Hampshire or not New Hampshire? Or Connecticut or Rhode Island? I get it's absurd because we would never allow a job description to go out that way. But this is a legal construct that's going to last up to 20 years.
Yep.
Isn't it reasonable to think that during interview time, we would work that
Yes,
out?
we would, but we can't turn around and say, but you must live in town. We can't do that. We can't reverse that, but we can say you have to be able to be in town within 25 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is. I think that saying within the Commonwealth is certainly a balance point.
It's a movement in the right direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So I guess for the town manager, what is the feeling of the board? This is going to be our warrant. Do we say within the Commonwealth or not?
within the Commonwealth.
Bill has his hand up.
Oh, Bill? T, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine either way.
Again, Bill Bradstreet, town meeting member precinct 1. I'd like to not drag this on any further. However,
Bill?
but I
We're working
will.
on it.
But if you set a time limit for the person wherever they reside to show up, I'd hate to see them get a speeding ticket just to fall within. You have to come up with a better system. That's not one of them. My opinion. I'm sure this board will come up with a better solution. Put your minds together, I'm sure you will. And no, we don't want to come from Montana either.
Anybody else?
It's closed.
All right,
We
we're going to
gave Bill-
close, a motion to close?
It's closed.
Yeah, okay, for the Town Manager Act. Do I have a
And Bill
second?
gets special
Okay,
dispensation.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we will, public hearing will be
Think
held
I'll
regarding the
repeat that
select
one.
board's proposed revisions to the recall bylaw.
It's on my notes. Yeah.
I reviewed this, and this all looks good except for my one recommendation.
Did you hear I was there?
My recommendation is that we change affidavit may be recalled for any reason other than the lawful performance of their elected duties.
Sorry, can you just tell us exactly where you are?
Section 1, recall election, Section A, the holder of an executive town office town with more than 6 months remaining in the term of that office on the date filing recall affidavit may be recalled from office for any reason other than the lawful performance of their elected duties. If I'm elected to take a vote, a hard vote, whatever vote, that should not be, the fact that you don't like the vote I took should not be an offense for recall. Everything else is
If we
okay.
put language in that said could be recalled for any egregious,
It says it's a
things-
recommendation.
Yeah.
It doesn't codify it. It just says
well,
later.
outside of their duties.
It says, determine whether the grounds listed for recall are sufficient, but it does say that the language is that at the bottom of this, at the bottom of the same page, while it is expected that the recall process recommendation hearing would only be used to address serious malfeasance or misconduct, the voters themselves should individually decide. It's expected. I want to say that's off the table. If you hire a school committee member to act as a school committee member and they lawfully do so, that should not be reason to recall them.
What if they have unlawful behavior outside the school committee?
What I'm saying is, I'm amending it for any reason other than lawful performance of their elected duties. That's any other reason. You don't like the fact that I'm wearing a red shirt. If you can get enough people to say, we want them out, okay. But if I have lawfully executed my job as an elected official, I think that should be the safe zone. That should be, that's, we talked about encouraging people to join in public duty. If I can be, we've had some very contentious situations in town, and emotions run high. But if I'm honestly doing my job as an elected official, lawfully and honestly doing it, I think that should be left aside. Come up with another reason.
We
don't
had
like
one.
it?
We had one in our initial proposal, slightly different, similar concept, I suppose.
Yep.
And it came through Mike Trainor's hard work. The phrasing we use is that the vote of an elected official on a matter other than in connection with conflict of interest shall not constitute valid grounds for recall. So it was, and I think I prefer this language that I just read to you over the one that you just quoted, because there could be so much disagreement about, what do you mean the lawful, what was the phrase you used?
I said the lawful performance of their elected duties.
Right, and that could be so, that's so tough, because people might want to recall because somebody treats the public very disrespectfully, and they say, well, I'm
But that's not-
lawfully,
right.
lawfully doing my, do you see what I mean?
Okay, I'm perfectly fine with that language, that you can't you're right, I could be a real complete jerk. I could espouse really racist things from this seat, and that could be cause. And I might argue that's lawful. I'm allowed to. It's freedom of speech. So I'm certainly open to the. You can't remove me from my votes.
Sally,
other
would you
than
read that
civil.
again?
Yes.
Madam Chairman, could you read that again?
And it's a phrase that was within our proposed language
Yeah.
to you. It is that, provided, however, that the vote of an elected official on a matter other than in connection with a conflict of interest violation shall not constitute valid grounds for recall. So a person, say, voting, a select board member voting on scaffolding outside of a building, that can't be grounds for a recall. The vote, their act as an elected official.
What do you think, Gardner, with that?
Yeah, I'm just,
I like that.
so other than matters of, what's the phrasing you used? I liked it.
Other than a conflict of interest violation. So if your vote, in fact, was a conflict of interest because you had a ownership interest in the scaffolding company,
Yep.
your vote could, in that instance, your vote could be a cause for recall, but
Okay. So I would suggest that we change Section A, right after the words recalled from office, to other than votes of elected officials, other than matters of conflict of interest violation. I'm trying to wordsmith it the same way, but yes, I am saying the same thing. You're right, my demeanor, my mannerisms, my communications, if I'm completely disrespectful to someone in the, at the podium, whatever it is, that could be grounds. It shouldn't be the fact that I voted.
Mike?
I like what Sally said.
And just to be,
Mike
for,
wrote.
for,
The other mic again.
and if I can.
I'll give you a signal.
I'm all done, I said it.
Madam Chair, if the board, just to make sure you guys are all talking about the same thing, the language that the committee recommended was in section B. So I would just need clarity from the board. If you go this way, are you going to put it back where they had it, or Member Trask's recommendation was in a different place?
My issue
put it
is
in
not
A.
where it is, it's the
What it is.
concept. You would just have to change Section A for any reason would be too, you'll just have to reconcile the sections.
Okay.
I don't care where it goes, other
I think
than,
it's easy to change A. Add it there.
that's not a battle I need to battle.
Okay.
I'm just
so
trying
make sure
to,
I'm
I'm
putting it
just
in the right
trying to get
spot.
to the votes part.
Mike, did you want to go up? Mike Trainer.
Mike,
How's it going? Mike Trainer, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 5. So the language that Sally just read is basically in this blanket template that most cities and towns use. It's in Section 2 or Section B, as we did it with the thing. Basically, it does make the recommendation that you can't be removed for the way you vote. It does, in every other town except for one that we found, go on to say, although we make this recommendation, the voters themselves ultimately decide whether or not the person's going to be recalled. And it's just, I just think there can be a lot of gray area with it. And Gardner, I get where you're coming from with the vote. You shouldn't be removed for the way you vote. And I'm just going to provide two examples on this. You could, 3 people on a board can make some big changes. So, for example, if we have a school committee vote and 2 new members get on, and there's one that's on there, they could remove the superintendent, even though everyone in this town is happy with the superintendent, we're good, but they can do a lot of damage. And this kind of just gives recourse. In a neighboring town, they had a really hot button topic, if you want to talk about it, where there was a teacher strike. And again, they tried a recall on the mayor, and they were unsuccessful in that. And that was a lot of people that were really upset. The grounds on this are so high. I actually believe this is this matches one other town as one of the most difficult ones to pull off. I just feel like we could get ourselves in a situation, and I just think most people in town, while you will have a large group of people say, I don't agree with the way you voted, I think most people will use common sense with this. And like I said, it really, everyone would have to be on board with this. And I just think there's other instances where something could go wrong on a board. I voted for someone that I didn't think should be in the position after they got in that position. I didn't know that when I voted. And like I said, if you get 2 new people in and you have one other person on the board, and it's just like, well, I don't like the superintendent, I don't like this, I'm going to appoint, the people should have some say and have some recourse in that. And I do see your point, 100%.
Well, this is the point I made when I originally wrote this.
What's that?
When I originally wrote this 5 years ago, that was the point I made, that we should omit people from being recalled based on their vote. And I'll give you an example now. And when another citizen presented it, it was that way. When you took up the mantle and recalled correct and changed some of the language. You took that out, and I'm saying that we have emotional hot-button topics all the time. If we were here when the trash fee was imposed, that could have been a reason to remove us, because we imposed the trash fee, or we supported the town manager imposing the trash fee and the electric bill. Very hot topic. I believe we made the right choice. I believe it was, and what you're going to get is when you have hot-button items, you're going to have hot-button voters. And people didn't fight us when we, when we put the cigarette ban in town 20-something years ago. You heard from the cigarette smokers. You didn't hear from the people who supported that because it wasn't an issue for them. They agreed. Yes, we're going to do it. We're not going to race out and fight for the right to, continue to smoke or fight that. I think that if I'm elected to take a vote and I take a vote and you don't like the vote, you can get me in 3 years then. That's fine. I don't think it's a recall. I don't think it's an issue for recall. So I support however the language goes in there for anything other than my vote. And the civil part of it that's just clarity. So I'm in 100% in support, and that we should provide elected officials with the protection that if they vote their conscience and they vote what they think is the representation of the people they represent, desire of the people they represent, that is now off the table for a recall. Just because a bunch of people get together and say, we don't want the trash fee. We want Blue Line, or we want whatever it is. We've had really hot button items in this town.
Do we have a motion, Madam Chairman?
I don't think it's a motion.
It's
I
not
think
a
it's
motion. With the change to the town.
But do we have consensus from the board, because it is a board warrant?
Could I just comment on one thing you said? I never took anything out of it. That was the identical language, because it says you cannot be removed from office, but then in the original one, which was taken from Wenham's, as you know, I did not delete anything from your original thing. If you look, it said the voters will ultimately decide.
But I think you're saying now that you want it removed.
No, I don't want it. I wanted it as it was originally on this.
The recommendations.
So
Okay.
I would want it in there to show, like the same, rather than the way this is in Section A, I would want it the way it was, exactly what Sally read, but then the sentence to continue to say, the voters themselves will individually determine whether any of the grounds listed for recall are sufficient.
But see, that whole statement takes away anything but voting except the voters can decide. That completely invalidates the whole premise. It's all except. It's a double negative, and I don't agree with that second statement. You either say everything or you say everything but.
Okay.
That's the
Like I said, I
statement.
gave an example of what could happen. This goes into law after this. There's a lot of different things that can happen. The metrics are high. I get your point. I do. I just think it can go other ways, and I just want you to consider that. And then I had one other comment on this. Is now the time to make it, just on Section A. So this was just changed to say any holder of an elective office in the town of Danvers. That could include, the way I read that, town meeting members. If you guys want to pay for another election to recall a town meeting member.
Yeah, the original language had town-wide. You're right. Mm-hmm. The original language was specific to town-wide candidates, which meant library, housing board, anything that was town-wide. It would omit by that description town meeting members. They wouldn't be subject to this.
And also, the original one named each of the town-wide positions, and the reason for that is with the housing authority. My understanding is some of those are appointed positions, and when this went to the Secretary of State, we wanted clarification on the housing authority whether or not they could be removed. So as we send this in as a home rule petition, it could be altered based off what they read. So that's one thing we just didn't want any questions to come up if it ever happened. Like, they would make a determination on that.
So you're making a good point, because that would also include River Committee. At town meeting, we vote for River Committee. Oh, the town meeting votes, so maybe that's not a good one.
This is elected.
This is elected.
So
Okay.
it's really the housing, and that was the town council at the time that I believe had that comment, so. I'll just bring it up.
I'd be in favor of returning select board, town moderator, school committee, library trustees. No, we're not putting it under the umbrella of townwide, because I don't think I agree that the housing trust, which we vote on at an election, should be held to that standard.
Yeah, but if
an
they are
authority.
if they are townwide, that would fall into.
That's what I'm saying.
So we don't have
we're
to
taking
list
the
it.
words townwide out and specifically saying select board, school committee, library trustees, and town moderator.
I think the reason why we have removed the list was because we said if in 10 years we have another elected position, then it will not be represented here.
And we can
And
we
we
can
said-
amend this
Well,
at that point.
We'll
How long will
amend
that
it. How long will it take?
Yeah,
to
but how
amend it?
often do we add a new townwide
I
position?
mean, I don't know, and that was the reason.
When's the last
why
time we added a new townwide position?
I'm not sure, but
Ever.
that's why we said townwide, and that should include the housing authority as well, if they are townwide.
We did, like I said, that was just a recommendation
So,
at the time,
alright.
because we wanted
I'll
If
clarification.
they are
go townwide.
townwide, the people that are appointed will not be included, and the people that are elected will be included. So I don't think we have
Okay,
to list
if
them
you
out.
want to say townwide, that's fine. That was the only outlier, and Mike convinced me that it probably shouldn't be there, but okay, townwide.
And coming to the language you had, Mike, we have that in section B, at the last sentence there. While it is expected that the recall process recommended herein will only be used to address serious malfeasance or misconduct, the voters themselves should individually determine whether the grounds listed for recall are sufficient.
Yes, and I think that's good
So-
language. I was just responding to
So
Gardner's.
that language is already there.
Right.
Right, and what I'm saying is that
amendment.
language allows for you to be removed because you took a vote. Because someone didn't like the way you voted on something.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I was the one who was the proponent of any.
Yep.
I'm open to Sally's suggestion.
Yeah.
And the language that Mike is proposing is already in section B. So if we only add what Sally had suggested, that will cover your suggestion and what you're saying.
No, but I
So-
see this as opposite. You either say in section A or B, anything except for the way someone votes. If you then, at the end of section B, say, you say, the voters themselves shall decide, then you've removed that safety net. You can't,
Well, actually, that second sentence, it doesn't exclude it.
No.
Earlier, it says you can't be voted, you can't be recalled because of a vote you took in your official elected position.
Exactly.
Right.
Then it goes on to say it's the voters who decide what other things are sufficient.
Exactly.
individually determine whether the grounds listed of recall are sufficient.
I
Yes.
think what Mike is trying to say is that he feels there are times when a vote should be sufficient to do a recall. That's what Mike is trying to say. We disagreed with that at a point. Our committee recommended the language that you've already seen. I can understand the point, but as you may have said, Gardner, to me, the answer to that type of a problem is the next
The
election.
next election.
But I just wanted to clarify where everybody is here.
Well, I guess I'll ask the town manager, ask the town council, if the voters themselves shall individually determine whether the grounds listed for recall, it says, first of all, it says, while it is expected, which means almost nothing, because yes, we're just saying it would be good if you followed this rule, but legally it isn't binding.
Well, but the context, the reason for that language is because we went around and around and around.
Yeah.
Should we list all of the reasons?
We shouldn't.
And we decided, no, we shouldn't list them all because that could narrow us in a way we don't anticipate. And so instead, say, it's up to the voters, and though it's expected that they'll do for serious, substantial reason. That's why it's phrased in that way.
Yeah, but if you want to extend that same language in both sections, that's fine too. I just don't want one to override the other or to.
I disagree.
You don't think,
my
you don't think
opinion,
it
they don't
causes
contradict, no.
a disparity?
No. The first sentence that says it can't be for a vote by an official in their elected position,
Yep,
that means that vote you can't use.
okay.
And then it goes on to say, well, whatever reason does come up, it's up to the voters to decide whether it's sufficient. Nova, do you want to go up?
From what we had. Oh, look. Sorry, Nova Seme Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. So I'm just going to read these few sentences that we had in our original so that they're all in context. This was in Section B. They shall be dated and shall contain the names of all persons to whom they are issued, the name of the person whose recall is sought, and the grounds of recall as stated in the affidavit, provided, however, that the vote of an elected official on a matter other than in connection with a conflict of interest violation shall not constitute valid grounds for recall. While it is expected that the recall process recommended herein would only be used to address serious malfeasance and misconduct, the voters themselves shall individually determine whether the grounds listed for recall are sufficient. So it says, like, it can't be this. Shall not constitute valid grounds for recall. So that is, shall not constitute. And then after that, it's, then we determine if there's a different reason, if it's grounds. So I think that our original Section B was correct. Thanks.
And can I ask a quick clarifying question? What is the thought around the conflict of interest language? If we're voting on a conflict of interest and we say that, you know, Mike has a conflict of interest because he does whatever he does. He does work at town hall on the payroll. We think that constitutes a conflict of interest. If I make a vote on that, how does that preclude? Why was that carved out?
Because if say, a member of the select board was voting, was guilty of a conflict of interest themselves, not the rest of the board. The rest of the board might not know that there was a conflict of interest, might not know that one of the board members had a financial interest in a company to whom the town was about to grant a contract.
Okay.
So if a board member voted in favor of the particular contract with a third party, and then subsequently it was learned that that one select board member had an ownership interest.
I see. Okay.
That would be a
makes sense.
conflict. So that vote could be used as a grounds for dismissal, not the votes of the other members who didn't have a conflict of interest.
That makes sense now.
Does that,
Yes,
did I explain
that
it?
does
Okay.
clarify it. Thank you.
But that is a violation of the ethics law.
No, I get it. I was just wondering why the carve out, but now the explanation makes sense.
Anybody else? Okay, motion to close the public hearing for the recall bylaw. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Or I'll make the motion. I don't, if you're making the motion, I'll second it. I don't care.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are you opposed? Okay. Well, thank you. Joe, you have all.
I think so.
Town, Madam Clerk, you do too?
I got it.
Okay.
Yep.
And then we changing section A,
Yeah, that's what I got.
adding Sally's language.
Okay, let's go on to the board will discuss and set two dates for a special town meeting, proposed date, January 9th, 2026, and a closing date for special town meeting warrant, proposed date, December 23rd, 2024, 4 p.m. Board members, do you have any questions with regards to this?
Can we close the warrant on the 23rd if we're not going to have a meeting until January? When's our, when, we changed the meeting that we were going to have.
The 30th. I mean, you can set, I've been doing a lot of research.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you get to choose. Closing the warrant is essentially saying anybody else
Oh,
who
no
has
new,
a petition.
oh, okay, no new,
No new
unknown
items.
items,
Yeah,
okay.
and then
Not,
you find-
not
you
that
won't-
we've
you won't have to
completed
take
our
your votes.
language.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
that, we're going to keep that at December 23rd
Yep.
at 4 p.m. Board, Mike, any questions?
No question.
D?
Which Mike?
Dee, any
So,
questions about the dates?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand what that date means. You're saying
That
it
no-
has to do with a citizen petition?
Any new items to be introduced for the board to consider have to be submitted to the town clerk's office by the 23rd at 4 PM.
That includes you as well.
Yeah. You can't
That
come up
includes
with
a
new
board
one.
member, yep. Any new items, citizens or board members that they want to be considered on the warrant have to be submitted to the clerk by the 23rd for your consideration on this January
On the
7th.
January 7th?
Yes.
Okay. Now, between the 23rd and the 7th, what do we do with that? Do we?
You celebrate Christmas.
So if someone brought something up, we just add it on the agenda for the 7th?
No, no. Nobody, it's closed. They can't, and so for your consideration, so if no new items can be submitted by the board or the public after the close of the warrant on the 23rd. And then on the 7th, you'll see, and the packet will be ready the Wednesday or the Thursday before the 7th. We'll have the proposed warrant articles that we just talked about, and that's when you'll vote to set the warrant.
Okay. I'm just to throw a curveball here, because today's the 16th. The 23rd, that's like.
A week.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Is that enough time for someone who will want to have, I don't know, a citizen petition out? Could we, maybe we can put it?
I mean, we've been
26th.
talking about it we've been talking about a tentative town meeting date since, I think, probably since September, October. Anyway, like I said, sometimes they set the date as the next day. And I think this board often, you guys will set the closing date the next day. So it shouldn't be
It's
a
not when the
surprise.
clock starts, when the clock ends. People who have interests in, there's already some citizens petitions in the works. And we'll probably get them presented at 11:59 on Wednesday that day. I don't think by setting the date on the 23rd, we're preventing anyone from doing a citizen's petition, because they could have already been working on it for months. Or even by setting it tonight, they can say, oh, I've only got a week to get my act together. So I'm not concerned about setting it on the 23rd being only another week and a half away, or a week away.
It's a week.
And I will say that on our end, to get the work done that needs to get done between then and the January 7th meeting, with the holidays in between, we, on our side and with legal, could really use that time. So to push it out further means then it has to go to legal for review. We have to prepare the warrant articles.
That's what I was asking. So when you get that, this work that happens between
Behind the scenes, yeah.
the 23rd and the 7th,
Yes.
is that correct?
And it'd be really between the 23rd and essentially like the second, again, because of the holidays, I think it's the 31st. 31st must be a Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we have work to do between the 23rd and the 31st.
Okay.
So to push it back, you would tighten our time frame. I think essentially it's like we have 4 days. But we'll get it done.
So
You
do
need
you
a
need an
motion,
official
Madam
motion? or
Chairman?
So I
do you-
think we need a motion for both
Okay.
for 2 dates.
Then
right?
Madam Chair, I move let's do them separately, just
Yeah,
so we don't get
separately.
confused. I move that we set a date for the special town meeting on February 9th, 2026.
Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Madam Chair, I move we accept, that we set a closing date for special town meeting warrants to be December 23rd at 4 PM.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I do have a topic regarding town warrants, and I'd like to know what the board's feeling is. I know that we do legal review, but I would like to ask the town, if it's the will of the board, that each warrant be accompanied with a statement by town council about the legality of the warrant and the ability of town meeting, meaning, is it legal per Massachusetts state law, and whether it's the purview of town meeting to vote on whatever the warrant article is. We've had warrant articles that try to compel other communities to do things. And that's just not the purview of the town meeting. Town meeting can't tell Beverly, do X. And so I'd like a statement on each of the warrant articles that state whether it's legal by Massachusetts state law and whether it is the purview of town meeting to make the decision that's being recommended.
Perhaps it might be more advantageous just to have a review by town council and have them point out something that's not proper and legal, rather than each article. We're going to have how many warrant articles?
Well, if they're going to look at it anyhow, and if they say this, and it could, the presumption is it's legal and it is the purview of town meeting.
Right. So
Just say that line. And then on any others, because we spend time at town meeting and here in our meetings discussing things that we already know are not going to pass legal muster. We had, at the last town meeting, there were 3 warrants offered. The first one was dead on arrival, yet we spent time here, spent time at FinCom, and spent time on the town meeting floor discussing a warrant article that could not possibly pass legal muster by the AG's office. And we were told that flat out, yet we still did
There's
it.
citizens petitions. We have to put them through.
We had to put them through, but I want a statement that says this warrant is legal and is in the purview of town meeting. Great. Fly forward. We're not saying stop them. I'm not saying stop a citizen's petition, but the fact that we know it's illegal should immediately be a reason to stub off unnecessary conversation.
So we should get a motion, we should get notification if it's not legal. We
Yes.
don't need notification on every warrant
Okay,
that it's
if
legal.
you're just, okay, if you want to say, great, I want a review and a statement from town council if a warrant is either illegal per Massachusetts state law or outside the purview of town meeting.
I I haven't been on the board long enough, but I think we get that already.
Only if we ask. Only if we ask at
Exactly.
town meeting.
So I think if we have it as something that has to be systematic, I think that's putting a heavy burden on town council for.
Puts the burden on us, it puts the burden on FinCom.
Yes, but if there's a citizen petition, regardless of the legality, there's not much we can do about it. Even if town council says.
But there is, Dee. I fully support a citizen's petition should always go completely through the process.
That's correct.
Correct. However, if it is deemed illegal, for example, because I was talking to Sally about this, talking to Representative Kearns about this, she reminded me that if there is a citizen's petition for a statewide election, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the Massachusetts Supreme Court looks at the legality of that and does not let it go forward.
All ballot questions get reviewed.
Right, all ballot questions get reviewed. So I'm just saying, warrants should be reviewed, and if someone proposes that we do something illegal per town council, now town council's going to look at it anyhow. We're not adding burden to town council. We're just saying make a statement. Add it to the narrative of the warrant that I've reviewed this and it either is fine, go straight, you have the opportunity to do this, or it's illegal, or town meeting doesn't have this authority. For example, a citizen today could say, I want you to buy the next fire truck from Moore GMC. That's illegal. You cannot do that. We should not spend time debating that, just put it through the process, but say this is an illegal statement. You can't do that. Why should we spend the extra time and effort at all 3 of those venues doing that?
Yeah, but if we have, what I'm trying to say is we can do that now. We don't have to explicitly require town council to give us that statement. If we have a citizen petition, we can seek guidance from town council. And if she says it's illegal, we still have to have a warrant. It's still going to go through. We still have to have open discussions with the public. It still has to go through FinCom. So can we do it expeditiously? Yes, we can, but we can't just shortchange the process and say we
And again, I want to be very clear. I'm not trying to stop the process. I'm trying to expedite the process by saying, if we get to town meeting and this is on the floor, right now, you and I and every one of us have the right to ask the town moderator, check with with legal counsel, is this legal?
Exactly.
I want them to review it before we get to town meeting, have a decision before town meeting, and make that decision known inside the
You're asking for
document.
every warrant article. That's what you said, every warrant article, even all the
Even
ones-
this one. Even this one.
That's what happens now anyway, though.
There is no, only if asked. And I want that known to the town meeting in the warrant book before we
Well,
have town meeting.
It's what you want. I don't agree with
That's what
what
I'm
you
saying.
want.
I'm asking
I
the
don't
will of
agree
the
with
board.
the way you're putting it.
Yeah, I think the process as it is now, town council is at town meeting. I see Mr. DeLuca get up all the time and advise us into what is legal, what is not legal. The petitioner could go and speak for as long as the town moderator give him or her the opportunity to speak. There's nothing we can do about that.
If I know,
regardless of the legality.
I disagree. If I know something is illegal, I will move the motion with the statement that this is an illegal. Why are we spending 30 minutes on an illegal, already determined to be illegal? You cannot, by law, dictate who you buy from.
And you need to have a second, and then it'll be voted on.
Yep.
If not, but that can happen regardless of. I'm just trying to understand why we would need to have that in the warrant.
I would like that to be a part of the, I'm recommending that's part of the warrant narrative. This has been reviewed by
Does
town
anybody else,
council.
Madam Chairman, does anybody else agree?
Anybody else want to comment? Mike, do you want, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, let's have Mike Trainer answer for me. I guess I'm siding with D, where it's already happened. I understand what you're saying, but it's happening already.
Dan?
I don't agree with his
I know.
request.
Okay. Then my expectation is that that at a town meeting, if I think something is illegal, I'll ask the town council.
I'm sure the moderator will as well.
Well, no, you have to ask the moderator to ask,
All right.
and I will be doing so. Okay, that's fine. I thought it would be important information for the town meeting members to understand if a warrant article is already determined to be out of scope. Okay?
All right, we're going to move on. Let's see, where are we now? The town clerk, yes, she is.
Still here?
Yeah. She's awake. Will present information on vote by mail and in person, early voting for the May 5th, 2026 annual town election. Madam Clerk.
So in your packet, you received some historical early vote statistics on vote by mail for local, well, it's got all the elections on here, but the one that we're focusing on is the local elections. So at the next meeting, the January 7th meeting, we will have a public hearing for the public to voice their comments on vote by mail for the local election. We have allowed it the last two or three elections. So we'll be looking to discuss vote by mail, and we'll also be looking at in-person, one day of in-person early vote, which we have been doing. I've also invited the registrar of voters to come to that meeting, so if there are any questions. And then I will also have for you a draft of the important dates for the May election. So what seats are open and all of that, I'll have that as a draft for you. And then we'll have some housekeeping votes on election work as well.
Board members, any questions? Dan?
No, we'll wait till next meeting.
Okay. Dee?
No questions.
Mike?
Me?
Yes.
No, thank you. No question.
Anna?
I'm just wondering, and we do this, and I'm a big supporter of vote by mail, still will be. I'm wondering if this isn't an opportunity for more than 5 people to make this, should this be a warrant article on town meeting? Should town meeting decide that, and just codify it and make it standard practice for us? That way you don't have to come to us every year, that, you know, or is there factors that may change year to year that would change your recommendation or your process?
Well, once, in my opinion, once we've allowed vote by mail at the local level for the local elections, you would want to maintain that same consistency. I believe state law indicates that vote by mail is allowed unless the select board opts out. So it's the select board that makes that determination.
So on the 7th, we're basically, you're going to get public comment.
Yep.
And this board will decide whether to opt out or not. Not, because we're in, we don't have to opt
We're
in.
in, we're automatically in.
Okay.
Right. You have the option to opt out.
I'm just wondering if the board thinks it should be broadened, a broader decision by town meeting.
No, I don't want to give up any of our authority, Gardner.
Okay.
And certainly, if anybody wants to stop by my office between now and January 7th to talk about it, I may or may not be in.
Gone fishing?
I got vacation time, so just saying. Check with me. Send me an email.
Are we looking for a motion on any of that? No?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing
Nope,
tonight.
That's just that.
Just information.
This is information. I've given you some numbers.
Yep, which is good information.
Yep.
Thank
And like I
you.
say, the registrars will, I've invited them. I don't know if they're all going to make the meeting or not, but it's nice to
Who
have.
are the registrars again, so public knows?
So we have Wally Tybert, Mark Lantini, and Marilyn Hazel are our registrar.
I thought Mark Lantini resigned
Right.
Mark Lantini resigned as an employee, but not as a registrar of voters.
when he ran for select
Yeah,
board. He
he-
resigned.
I don't believe he did.
How could he run for select board?
He would have resigned if he
One?
won.
Some clarification on that.
All right, we'll get a report from you for next meeting. Okay. All right, let's move on. The town manager will report to the board on various items of interest. Ms. Town Manager.
Great, thank you. Well, the first one I was going to talk about was the Essex Tech Admissions and Allocation Procedure, but I think we covered that unless there was more information people wanted on that. I will send you, I will email you tomorrow the complete, the breakdown of the process so you have a sense of how it goes. Right now, our minimum number is set at 60, so that means we would be getting 60 every year, 60 plus every year. I do want to thank Mike Landers and Dan Bauer for that. We've been working really, really well together on this, and we will be watching very closely any expansion plans as well. They wanted to refer to make sure you saw in your packets that I submitted a letter regarding the 114 long-term safety study to Mass DOT. So you have a copy of that. Representative Kearns submitted a letter as well. I want to address, we've been having some issues at the senior center with the heating system. Whoever's been there has noticed, I'm sure. What I will say, I can give you kind of an update on today, but what they discovered today, my understanding from our senior team meeting was that the contractor that signed off on the work, one of the things that they signed off that they fixed, they did not. So our DPW team saw that today. So just so you have a sense of the temperatures. So it's been DPW and the HVAC contractor have been working together on this. The things are better today. Temperatures ranging from 60 to 73 in the great room. The great room is where it's warm still. There's 2 boilers that run. So this morning when somebody checked at 7:40 a.m., the thermostat, there's one outside of the director's office was 66. His supply closet was 61.5. Fitness room was 62, and great room was 73. By 9:20, they were up to 68, 63.5, 64, and 75. And there is guidance on where it should be at and for workplaces, so we are keeping a very close eye on that. But it has been uncomfortable for the seniors, and we want to make sure that they know that we are working on it and holding the contractors accountable.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
How old are the boilers? And you say it's work that wasn't completed? But was there a part they needed?
No, they're not waiting on a part.
They're not waiting on a part?
They just didn't do the fix they said
They
they
just
were
didn't
going
do the
to.
fix, okay. But
How old
this
are
summer, the AC was out, just the opposite, after building was hot with no AC.
Oh,
So-
was it in the summer?
Yeah, it would have been the summer,
Yeah.
during the heat wave. So
There's-
it seems to be consistent issues with the HVAC system.
Yes. I have the information, there's 2 boilers in the building. I don't have the age of the boilers, but I can find out. Hold on. Oh, back to where I was. I want to extend thank you and let the board know that we did receive notification that the St. John's Prep has donated to the Friends of Endicott Park and the Friends of the Rail Trail again, $2,500 to each. So thank you to St. John's Prep and thank you to the Friends of both those organizations for keeping the fundraising going and helping be a community partner for us. I want to thank everyone who came to the Select Board community and downtown holiday party last week. I met some more new people, which was great for me. And I look forward to following up with each of you. And thank you, Kathy, for all your work organizing. And Kathy and Ann and Ann's daughter, Julie, and
Kathy Simon.
And Kathy Simon were all very helpful. Last night, the HRIC Shabbat of the North Shore Police and Fire Departments hosted the annual menorah lighting event downtown. I was not able to attend as I was out of the country on a pre-planned trip, but I want to thank everybody who was there, and my understanding is it was well attended, and I look forward, I'm going to go down on Thursday, so I look forward to attending later this week. And then just a reminder that town hall offices will be closed on December 24th and 25th, and on January 1, New Year's Day. Happy New Year and happy holidays.
Thank you. The board will consider consent calendar items as they appear.
Motion to approve?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Correspondence, Select Board, new business, previous new business, update, Select Board, closing comments. Who wants to start?
I'll
Mike?
start.
Mike Bean.
Okay. I think I have to take issue with the voting at the Christmas party. I think you have to recheck your system because I'm the only one who lost. Everyone else on this board won. The raffle. So I don't know if there's something
I only
fishy
won
going on.
one this year.
Yeah, he usually
Doesn't
won,
matter,
what?
Still a win.
3 or 4?
And, but I do want to just say, happy.
You got to put your tickets in the basket.
Oh, in the basket, oh.
Put your name on it.
Oh, I brought them home.
You can't win.
Just Merry Christmas, and I hope everybody a happy, healthy holiday. And God bless everybody. Thank you.
Gardner?
Nope, I finally got my town email back up and running and.
Good.
And caught up with everything. Nothing that people haven't mentioned already, other than internal stuff. So nothing to report there. I attended the, remotely, we had a Danvers Accessibility Commission meeting, and I have some follow-up tasks to talk to the town manager about. But that's going well, and fortunately, they're coming into an opportunity for some funding and a funding source. So, and they have great plans. So I want to thank them. They work closely with HRIC as well. I think it's a good partnership, and the senior center. We have a new senior center person as a liaison on the board. So on that committee. So it's great. Other than that, I hope everybody has a nice Hanukkah, a nice Christmas, whatever holiday you celebrate, or take whatever time you need to relax and recharge. Thank you.
Thank you. Dee?
Thank you. I missed the Christmas tree lighting. I was up north to Canada, but I heard it was really nice. My daughter was there. She told me all about it. I also attended the menorah lighting yesterday. It was really moving, and was chatting with the rabbi. As the former chair of the HRC, I used to work closely with the Shabbat of the North Shore for that event. And in light of what happened this past week in Australia, I was just reminded, as we were doing that yesterday, of this poem that a resident of Danvers had shared with me a few years back when we had another tragedy of anti-Semitic event. And it's just 1 minute, and I'll read it. It was a poem from Pastor Martin Niemöller. And it says, "First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jewish, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me." And this always, in the context of the world we live in, is so important that we find ways, and we do a very good job of that in Danvers, and we got to continue to do it, to just look out for each other, to care for each other, to love each other, because we want to make sure that we don't get in a situation where when they come out and there's no one left to speak for me. If you see injustice, please call it out. On that, Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Dan?
Thank you. In reviewing 2025, we spent 6 months to hire a new town manager. We've spent 4 months discussing Town Meeting Act, Town Manager Act, recall petition, electronic voting. I just want to be here 10 years from now when people look back at the board of 25 and 26 and what their opinion is of the work we've done this year. We've done a lot of work. We're moving along. I would like to kind of now start focusing on the budget. We're getting to budget season. And a couple of questions for the manager going forwards. Can we get an idea of the type of grant money we could get or are not getting by not being a green community? 200 communities in Massachusetts are green communities, and I know they get grant money for certain projects. That's something I'd like to talk about. Also, can we start to look at new growth projections over the next 3 to 5 years, where we are with permits for new current projects and new projects on the horizon, so we have a sense of what new growth might look like? Maybe that's some money that we could use to dedicate towards a stabilization fund, if you will, for Essex Tech. We did dedicate half the funds from the state hospital for the high school project back a number of years ago, and that helped us out. And another question for land use. We have EFLA regulations, but do we have to change those to meet the state ADU laws that was passed in February? They're not in sync with each other. Does it require us to change the EFLA laws, or does state law just take precedent? And with that, I would say Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year to all.
Okay, and then you can do your closing comment. I want to say thank you to Ann Freitas, Kathy Ellsworth, Ann's daughter Julie, and Kathy Simon, too, for a holiday party. It was great. Thank you for everybody that came. We'd love to see more businesses come. We're going to work on that next year. And thank you to Joe Bono over at Berry Tavern, the a cappella group at Danvers High School. Merry Christmas to everybody, and Happy Hanukkah. Please remember the food pantry. Donations are always welcome for people that are in need. I want to thank you, all board members, for your hard work. Dan did say with the number of hours, like, what a year for me to be chair, right? It's been a lot of work, and I want to thank each one of you individually and say thank you. Also, happy belated birthday to our town manager, Joe Cahill. And I believe that we have a happy birthday coming up to Dan Bennett pretty soon.
Friday.
Right? I want to thank all the residents, everybody that comes to our meeting, all the town employees for doing what they do day in and day out for the town that we love, for the schools, for the kids. Kids, have a wonderful Christmas. Enjoy your Christmas break and spend time with your loved ones. Thank you very much. Dan?
Yes, and please, when you see a vet, please thank her or him for their service to our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Good night, Danvers.
Good